he was part of the leadership team of the Senate, consisting of Senate President Tito Soto, Senate President Pro Tempore Ralph Recto, and Minority Leader Frank Drilon. Indeed, there is an appointed time for everything. 2 nights ago, if I recall, Senator Zubiri shared with us that this is actually his favorite verse in the Bible, found in the book of Ecclesiastes, that God's timing is perfect. Indeed, God's timing is perfect. It's not too late, it's not too soon. The trabahador ng Senado is now ripe for the Senate presidency. Ika nga po sa amin sa Bulacan, ang bungang hinog sa sanga, matamis ang lasa. Senator Migs and several other senators present here today, Senator Cheese, Senator Alan, Senator Sani, Senator Aimee, Senator Risa, Senator Win, and I became colleagues in the lower house during the 12th and 13th Congresses. We have seen with our own 2 eyes how Senator Zubiri transformed from an athletic heartthrob to a statesman. What strikes me the most is the unique quality of his leadership. He is a dedicated government servant, advocate, and policy maker. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as we have seen the same leadership brand from his parents, Governor Joe Zubiri of Bukidnon and Victoria Fernandez Zubiri of Albay. The way Senator Zubiri handles the stresses and high-level demands of the positions he holds never fails to surprise me until now. Tensions, confusion, and disagreements do not easily rattle him. He can manage to keep his cool and face adversities with a smile. Sabi nga po ng marami sa atin, dito sa Senado, kung may boses na nakakapagpakalma at ngiting nakakatunaw, kay Senator Migs yan. We always wait for him to say, we have just passed another happy bill, because it reminds us that we can achieve more if we come together, trust, and cooperate. His legislative accomplishments are laudable. He is the principal author and sponsor of hundreds of laws of national application, both in the Senate and during his stint as 3-term congressman of Bukidnon. To take stock of his legislative track record, I say that Senator Zubiri's leadership traits best fit for Senate presidency: compassionate, collaborative, and creative. His compassion stems from being an environmentalist. As a fervent advocate of clean energy, he worked for the passage of Renewable Energy Act of 2008, RA 9153, and the Biofuels Act of 2006, RA 9367, earning him the moniker Mr. Clean Energy. He is also the founder of the Philippine Deer Foundation, a deer conservation project. His master's degree in Environment and Natural Resources Management from the University of the Philippines Open University firmly deepened his causes for these issues and evidence his commitment to lifelong learning. His collaborative skills come from the value he appropriates for cooperatives. We call him the father of the new cooperative code because he is the principal author and sponsor of Republic Act number 9520, or the Philippine Cooperative Code of 2008. His investment in the growth of the cooperative sector carried over to the 17th and 18th Congresses, where he chaired the Committee on Cooperatives. His creativity flows from being an entrepreneur and an athlete. He is the chairman and president of the Philippine Eskrima Kali Arnis Federation, the National Sports Association for Arnis. Under his leadership, PECA was responsible for training and supporting the Philippine National Arnis team. PECA earned a record 14 gold medals in the 30th Southeast Asian Games. While our previous Senate President is a multi-awarded bowler, our next Senate President is a gold medalist at the 1989 World Arnis Championships. Pero wag po kayong mag-alala dahil kahit ang mga issue na hindi madadaan sa debate, may mga issue ganon, hindi po ito idadaan ni Senator Migs sa martial arts at Arnis. This institution must serve the Filipino people. And with Senator Zubiri at its helm, steering and charting its course, it can do much more. Ang institusyong ito ay saksi mula pa noong 1916 na nasa taong bayan ang totoong kapangyarihan. Isang bagay na malinaw kay Senator Zubiri na na banaag natin sa kanyang mga naipasang mga batas, mga desisyong ginawa niya dito sa plenaryo ng Senado at advokasiyang isinulong sa loob at labas ng lehislatura. Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, my nominee for the Senate presidency, is a veteran legislator, having served in both houses of Congress and having posted perfect attendance across 2 decades of service. He knows by heart and as a second nature the Senate rules and the ins and outs of navigating the legislative procedures, duties, responsibilities, and bureaucracy. Consequently, and as evidence to what I mentioned previously are his legislative accomplishments, the various committee and posts he held in both houses of Congress, and how he handled, managed, and executed his duties and responsibilities, of which we are all witnesses. In Psalms chapter 78, verse 72, so he shepherded them according to the integrity of his heart and guided them with his skillful hands. Higit sa lahat, Ginoong Pangulo, siya ay isang mabuti at mapagmahal na asawa sa kanyang kabiyak na si Audrey at uliran at mapag-arugang ama sa kanyang mga anak na sina Adriana, Juanmi at ang aking BFF si Santi. Kaya ganun na lang po ang kanyang katapatan at pagmamahal sa ating bayan. Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri is the most qualified and eligible among us to preside over the Senate of the 19th Congress of the Philippines. For the above reasons and more, I nominate the gentleman from Bukidnon, Senator Juan Miguel Migs Zubiri, as our next Senate President. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all.
Thank you, the Acting Majority Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva. Mr. President, Majority Leader. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. President, at this juncture, may I ask that Senator Lauren Legarda be recognized for the nomination. So moved.
The distinguished lady from Antique, Senator Lauren Legarda, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Distinguished colleagues, Senator Juan Miguel Migs Zubiri, who served this august chamber as Majority Floor Leader during the 18th Congress, has demonstrated his ability to lead and manage the legislative affairs of the Senate. He collaborated closely with former Senate President Vicente Tito Soto III, former Senate President Pro Tempore Ralph Recto, and former Minority Leader Franklin Drilon. Together, they guided the Philippine Senate to a fruitful 18th Congress despite the challenges of the more than 2.5 years pandemic. Dynamic, hardworking, congenial, forward-looking, there is never a day I do not see Senator Migs Zubiri not smiling. At siya ang tunay na trabahador ng Senado. It is my honor and privilege to nominate Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri of Mindanao as Senate President of the 19th Congress. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Legarda. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I ask that Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada be recognized for the nomination.
The gentleman from San Juan, Senator Jinggoy Ejercito Estrada, is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presiding Officer. Morning to our esteemed colleagues, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As we open today the 19th Congress, our people expect as members of this upper chamber to keep the role of the Senate as the last bastion of democracy, a revered institution that consistently upholds the national interest, protects civil, political, and human rights, and promotes transparency and accountability in public service. The last national elections was probably the most divisive in recent years. More than 2 months has since passed. We now have to buckle down and perform our respective mandates as elected officials of this country. And as we navigate a challenging recovery from the pandemic, amid the resurgence of COVID-19 cases, the Senate needs to steer needed pieces of legislation to build back a better economy. And to get things done, there's no one in my mind that could lead the present composition of the Senate but Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri, or Senator Migs, as we fondly call him. However, if you were to ask me 2 decades ago what my impressions are about of Senator Migs, my answer would probably be not the most glowing. After all, we were then at the opposite ends of the political spectrum. I was part of the first family, while the neophyte Congressman Zubiri was with the opposition, who was among the most critical of my father's administration. Ngunit may kasabihan tayo, bilog ang mundo. At gaya ng mga bagay sa ating buhay, gayon din sa larangan ng politika, marami na po ang nagbago. Ang ilang bumabati ko sa atin ngayon, noon ay kaalyado at mabuting kaibigan na natin ngayon. To borrow the very witty but wise words of my father, weather lang yan. As I came to know him up close and personal, in the 4 years that we were together in the Senate, I came to admire the man. When I was honored to be our Senate President Pro Tem during the 14th Congress, he was our hard-working majority floor leader. As majority leader, Senator Miggs demonstrated competence and expertise on parliamentary rules and procedures and was able to steer and guide floor deliberations and pending measures with utmost fairness and direction, effectively creating an atmosphere of cooperation and understanding from both the majority and minority members. Indeed, I saw firsthand how this gentleman works. Totoong trabador ng Senado. He was a true consensus builder, finding ways and means to shepherd the passage of important measures and effectively navigated the so-called 24 republics that is this institution. His recognition as a consensus leader in the upper chamber was the reason why he regained his majority leadership. First bestowed upon him during the 14th Congress, in the 17th, and in the last 18th Congresses. And as the majority leader during the 18th Congress, he dutifully stood on this august floor, sometimes until the wee hours of the night, and even during the dangerous times when COVID emptied it of warm bodies. And on a personal note, nang ako'y nalubok, hindi siya sumama sa mga taong sumipa sa akin nang ako'y dapandapa. This shows his decency and respect for a fellow public servant, and I thank him for that. A true gentleman, totoong tao, patas na kausap. Ngunit hindi tayo naghahanap ng pinuno na mabait, o malambing, o may pakikisama lamang. Ang hanap natin ay isang leader na masipag, magaling, at higit sa lahat, may alam. And to quote Martin Luther King, a genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. And in several instances in the past, Senator Zubiri displayed his ability to diffuse the tension on the Senate floor through his ice cream diplomacy. His amiable personality, coupled with good looks, aminin na natin, artistahin, gaya ng mga ibang artista rito, katulad ni Senator Robin Padilla, Senator Bong Revilla, Senator Lito Lapid. Huwag niya na po ako isama sapagkat itong aking mga nabanggit na Senator mga artista, mga superstar doon, tigit sa lahat, mas maganda lalaki kay sa akin. At minsan na rin siyang nagpakita ng tapang nang ipagtanggol niya ang integridad ng Senado mula sa akusasyong pag-whitewash ng sinasagawang investigasyon sa isang bribery extortion scandal na kinakasangkutan ng ilang opisyal ng Bureau of Immigration. Sabi nga niya, I didn't become world champion in Arnis for nothing. Sabi niya sa isang katunggali niya, Senador. Ngunit sa huli, pinairal pa rin ni Senator Miggs ang pagiging maginoo. Pagpapamalas ito ng isang mabuting leader na hindi hayaang madungisan ang institusyong kinabibilangan natin ngayon. As we face our future with the pandemic still in the midst, we can depend on a Senate leader who can exercise his best judgment, sound prudence, and wisdom. One who can help chart the destiny of our nation. Sa kanyang mahabang taon na karanasan bilang mamabata sa dalawang kapulungan ng Kongreso, nagsimula siyang itim ang kanyang buhok hanggang sa naging puti na lahat. Masasabi kong buong-buo ng kanyang kalaman at kakayahan upang pangunahan ang pagsasakutuparan ng mabigat na papel ng Senado sa pagbangon ng bayan mula sa dagok ng pandemya. I am voting for Senator Miggs because his consultative approach in bringing together the best ideas that 24 of us can offer is the best vaccine against gridlock, which has plagued us so many times in the past. He is the Senate President we should have in these times when we are under immense pressure to deliver to the people what they need. He is the Senate President that we want to ensure that this institution will be a true workhorse, efficient, productive, in terms of legislating the urgent policies to revive the economy and truly responsive to the needs of the Filipinos. In closing, I would like to borrow a line from the 1957 inaugural speech of former President Carlos P. Garcia, and I quote, "Together we will meet our common problems and difficulties. With a singleness of purpose together, we will overcome them." And to continue to preserve the independence and integrity of the Senate, I respectfully nominate Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri as our next Senate President. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Chingoy Harris de Estrada, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. At this juncture, Mr. President, I ask that Senator Grace Poe be recognized for the nomination.
Distinguished lady from Iloilo and Pangasinan, Senator Grace Poe is recognized.
Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow senators of the Republic, it is my honor to nominate Senator Juan Miguel Miggs Zubiri, the most charming gentleman senator of this current wave of statesmen, as the Senate President of the 19th Congress. Congress deserves hard-working public servants, and it is my honor to be led by the best of us all. A real trabajador ng Senado who posts perfect attendance year in and out, all in his time in Congress. There's a very thin line between utmost efficiency and slave driving, and Senator Zubiri treads this line wonderfully. We have seen Senator Miggs shepherd priority measures on the floor like clockwork, and that is exactly the kind of dedication we need to bounce back after a pandemic. Like the law, he principally authored RA 11032, or the Anti-Red Tape Act. He promotes ease of doing business and efficiency delivery of government services on the Senate floor. He has served twice as the Majority Leader, and we all witnessed firsthand his mastery of the Senate rules as he pushed landmark legislation on the Senate floor. And if all else fails, as a master bolero, he can turn even the most vehement objections into reluctant agreement and eventually into full consent. He is the founder and chairman emeritus of the Committee on Charm. Sa sobrang galing, pati si dating Minority Leader Franklin Drilon bumoboto kasama ang majority. Today he graduates from the front bench to wielding the gavel. I have no doubt he will use it fairly and wisely and for the benefit of the Filipino people. It is my privilege to nominate the most foreign-looking senator, but a true Filipino statesman, to lead us in the 19th Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Poe, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask that Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa be recognized for the nomination. So moved.
The gentleman from Davao del Sur, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. General Montgomery of the British Army said, "Leadership is the capacity and the will to rally men and women to a common purpose, and the character which inspires confidence." Leadership, which I can attest, is an attribute that Senator Zubiri possesses. I have witnessed his excellence in leading 23 individuals with 23 different opinions on national issues during the 18th Congress. True to his moniker as Trabajador sa Senado, I have seen how Senator Miguel Zubiri passionately worked for the benefit of our people. He was instrumental in ensuring that this august body fulfills our sworn constitutional mandate of enacting laws for the common good during the 18th Congress. Senator Zubiri does not stop working even when he is sick. Not even the deadly COVID-19 weakened his dedication for public service. He showed us his unwavering commitment to work during the peak of COVID-19 pandemic. While there was confusion and uncertainties that time, Senator Zubiri, together with the members of the 18th Congress, worked our ways with blood, sweat, and perhaps tears. So our executive department will be equipped to effectively combat the detrimental effects of the pandemic. All in a day's work of an enthusiastic senator such as Senator Zubiri. There will be debates and disagreements among us colleagues like every Congress should. Every senator in this chamber has his or her own view and belief. But I certainly know that the leadership of Senator Zubiri will bind us all together. Together in carrying out our duties and responsibilities as trabajadores of our people. Mr. President, as a Mindanaoan, it is with great honor and pride to second the nomination of our trabajador sa Senado, my fellow Mindanaoan, Senator Miguel Zubiri, as Senate President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator De La Rosa, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, at this juncture, may I ask that Senator Joseph Victor Ejercito, our comebacking seatmate, be recognized for the nomination.
The other gentleman from San Juan, Senator J.V. Ejercito. That it be put on record that Senator Jinggoy mentioned him as the good one. They're both good ones, Mr. President. We recognize Senator J.V. Ejercito for his nomination.
Thank you, Mr. President. As we begin the 19th Congress, we find the country facing difficult challenges. We're still grappling with the COVID-19 pandemic as daily cases continue to rise. Prices have skyrocketed because of forces beyond our control. Political divisions still haunt us, as evidenced by the horrific shooting at Ateneo yesterday. Globally, the war in Ukraine, the skirmishes between China and the U.S. in our region, and the territorial disputes among Asian countries continue to create uncertainties for our future as a country. The Senate has historically been the bastion of democracy in our history. Those revered statesmen and stateswomen that have come before us led the country in facing their own challenges. Their patriotism and bravery have made the Senate what it is today. They've won their battles. This is our battle. This is our time. And as we go to battle, I'm comforted by the fact that the Senate of the 19th Congress is composed of 24 men and women whose love of country cannot be doubted. I'm comforted by the fact that we will be led by the man I am so honored and privileged to nominate as Senate President. Senator Zubiri has been a big part of the Senate stands for now, a competent, compassionate institution that is always ready to serve the Filipino people in times of peace or crisis. Senator Mix was Majority Leader in 3 Congresses, the 18th, the 17th, and the 14th Congress, which made him the youngest elected Senate Majority Leader since 1946. This demonstrates not just Senator Mix's knowledge of the Senate history and its rules, but his strong leadership, his charisma, and his self-assured temperament that is so critical in leading an institution like the Senate. Senator Mix is an honorable man who once gave up his place in the Senate in order to defend this institution and protect his loved ones. He is a dedicated and committed public servant who has recorded complete attendance in his 20 years in public service and passed meaningful laws that benefit our people. On a personal note, Mr. President, I would like to thank Senator Mig Zubiri because we have been together in 2 national elections in 2013. Although we are not together as a team in 2019, I know for a fact that he was one of the happiest persons that I made it to the Senate. Kami po ay maganda ang samahan. We had a very good chemistry pag magkasama kami. Ako po yung kape, siya po yung coffee mate. Kapit gatas. And as a principal, on a personal note also, Mr. President, as the principal sponsor of the Universal Healthcare Law and the creation of the Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development, when he was Majority Leader, he was the one pushing me. Lagi niya sinasabi sa akin, James, tara na, ikalendara natin yan para maipasa na natin. Kailangan natin maipasa. Those are 2 landmark legislations. He really pushed me. Thank you. bro, for really pushing me and being able to pass these two landmark legislations. It is because of you who really made sure that these laws will be taken up in the floor. Senator Biggs possesses the kind of leadership that we need. Strong but not tyrannical, kind but not naive, cooperative but not subservient, humble, vigilant, and gallant. He is a loyal friend and ally, a pillar of the seatmate bloc of the Senate, who is always ready and willing to impart his knowledge and support to his colleagues. He is a family man, a loving husband, and protective father to his children. I know that there is no better person for the job than Senator Miggs. It is therefore a privilege to nominate Senator Juan Miguel Miggs Zubiri for the position of Senate President of this honorable chamber.
Thank you, Senator JV. Welcome back. We hope brotherly love will prevail in the next 3 years. Majority Leader?
Yes, Mr. President, at this juncture, with the consent of the body, there are no other nominations. I therefore move that we close the period of nomination and proceed to elect by acclamation Senator Juan Miguel F. Zubiri as President of the Senate.
Is there any objection? There being none, the motion is approved. Congratulations to Senate President Juan Miguel Fernandez Zubiri. Before we have the
Yes,
administering
Mr.
of the oath, I believe
Yes, Mr. President.
our former Majority Leader, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano, wishes to make a manifestation.
Mr. President, I'd just like to ask that the record reflect that I did not participate in the voting to remain an independent, nor will I participate in the selection of the minority leader, but may I reserve the right and privilege to say good things about our so very good Senate President elect. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Alan Peter Cayetano. The manifestation is noted. I see 2 members of the Senate raising their hand, so I will recognize our 3
Senator
ladies.
Pia, Mr.
Senator,
President,
yes. I'm sorry, I did not see Senator Risa. So first, we have the lady from, just distinguished lady from Taguig, Senator Pia Cayetano.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Let me congratulate our newly elected Senate President. May the record show that I also did not cast my vote in favor of my esteemed colleague. At this point, I would like to remain independent. I will also not participate or cast my vote in favor of any minority leader. But as I have told the Senate President, he knows that my commitment for the amazing work that this Senate will produce. He has my commitment that I will participate and ensure that nothing less than excellent work will come out of the Senate. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pia.
Mr. President.
So the Senate President's charm did not work on you. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, may we recognize the gentleman from Cagayan de Oro, Senator Coco Pimentel.
Certainly, the bar top notcher, the brilliant lawyer from Cagayan de Oro, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel is recognized.
Thank you, sir. Now that we have elected our Senate President, I'd like to manifest that I abstained from the election of the Senate President. But nonetheless, let me congratulate my silingan, kababayan from Region 10, our leader from Mindanao. So congratulations, sir. And we are all here to help this Senate succeed in this 19th Congress. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pimentel. So the chamber will be dominated by Region 10, maybe? Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, may we also recognize and acknowledge the distinguished lady from Macbayan, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Yes, the distinguished lady from Akbayan Party List and province of the island of Panay is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. President. Mabuhi, SP Miggs. Together with Senator Pimentel, I also make of record that I abstained on the vote on the Senate presidency, and I'm glad that it will be on record that SP Miggs was uncontested. Mabuhay.
Thank you, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, may I ask for 1 minute suspension for the oath-taking of our Senate President?
Session is hereby suspended. We ask Senator Lauren Legarda to join us to administer the oath to the Senate President, as well as the family of Senate President Zubiri to join here at the rostrum for his oath-taking as Senate President. And may we ask the members of the Senate and our guests to please rise for the Senate President's oath-taking.
Balik po tayo sa ating programa. Inyo pong natunghayan ang ginawang nominasyon sa ating 19th Congress sa Senado po. At si Senator Mig Zubiri po ang karamihan pong ibinoto po ng ating mga senador. Ilan po yan? Si Senator Villanueva, Senator Loren Legarda, Senator Jinggoy Estrada, Senator Grace po, Senator Bato de la Rosa at si Senator JV Ejercito. Samantala, hindi naman nagpahayag ng kanilang pagboto na pabor kay Zubiri, sina Alan at Pia Cayetano at si Pimentel. Ayan.
At malinaw din, Ms. Ina, na overwhelming majority sa amin ngang side to kanina ni Professor Ana, Yusek Joel at mga kababayan ay super majority pa rin sila sa loob ng Senado. But before we go on, Ms. Ina, Professor Ana, Yusek Joel, i-acknowledge muna natin from the US ang isa sa mga co-anchors natin kung nandyan pa rin sa waiting room, si Yusek Lorraine Badoy. Miss Ina, i-check natin para makapag-join bago magbigay ng mga analysis ang ating guest co-anchor na si Professor Ana Malindog-Oy. Miss Ina?
Yes, at
nandyan na ba si Yusek Badoy? Kanina Yusek Joel, standby na si Yusek Badoy. Hindi ko alam kung naputol na siya ulit from her connections.
Balikan na lang natin siya, Eric, at alamin muna natin mga unang ano po ang maging pahayag mo, Prof. Ana,
si Prof. Ana muna.
Ating mga narinig po kanina.
Ayan na.
Ayan na siya.
Ayan na siya.
Nakamute.
Oh, hi, Yusek.
Nakamute ka, Yusek.
You can hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Magandang tanghali mula dito sa Pilipinas sa Dr. Lorena Badoy. At kanina po, Yusek, natunghayan natin itong naging nominasyon sa Senado at ang bagong Senate President natin ay official na si Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri.
Juan Miguel Zubiri. Yusek, pagbati mo muna before magbigay si Professor Ana Malindog-Oy ng kanyang mga pananaw.
I'm sorry, Eric.
Yeah,
merong may technical difficulty. Ang dami ko naririnig na boses ngayon.
Sige, papaayos mo na natin.
Halos naririnig.
Sige.
Yeah, pakiayos
Ipaayos mo na namin, ma'am, before ka namin kuhanan ng iyong mga gusto rin paabot sa SONA occasion na ito ng ating Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Professor Ana.
Sa akin, ang tingin ko, si Senator Mig Zubiri na ang Senate President. Yes.
Nanumpa na rin po siya
Nanumpa na rin, no? Ang bilis, At saka ang bilis din ng nomination and then panunumpa agad. Pero very important.
Kagabi pa yan naayos, Prof.
Oo nga Feeling ko, okay na yan Matagal na atang naayos yan Oo, pero ang importansya din naman kasi ng Senate President when you talk about ang Senado, at saka ang titignan mo ang Senado right now, super majority. Super majority si BBM. O ibig sabihin, anong ibig sabihin nun? Ibig sabihin, in terms of legislative agenda ng executive branch headed by the President, expectation natin is mabilis dapat umusad yan. Ibig sabihin, kasi nandun ang suporta ng supermajority. Huwag nating kakalimutan na pagdating sa mga legislative agenda, sa pagpasa ng mga yan, kailangan mo ng boto. Bawat isang senador, boboto dyan. So kung may supermajority ka, ang ibig sabihin nun, mataas ang expectation na yung mga legislative agenda na pinupush mo ay papasok yan at lulusot. Yun. Ang Senate President, importante ang role niyan kasi siya yung parang nagkakalendar. Overall, siya ang head ng Senado. Ang pangalawa, siya din ang nagta-timetable dyan kung ano yung tawag nito yung mga uunahin. Agenda, oo.
Samantala mo na kita ipinis sa ating talakayan dahil formal na pong nanumpa si Senator Juan Miguel Zubiri bilang Senate President at maya-maya lang magbibigay siya ng kanyang talumpati.
Bilang Pang-ilan na ba siya sa
19
Senate?
Congress to,
19 Congress ito eh. Sa mga history ng Senate presidents natin. I think they're preparing now. Nagkakaroon pa ng photo opportunity.
Kasama kanyang pamilya.
Pero mahalaga ito na habang nag-aantay tayo, Professor, yung binanggit mo. At ito yung kailangan ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Yung solido at matatag na suporta ng lehislatura, particular sa Senate. And I think he's going to...
Hindi lang daw sa Senate, but the lower house.
Lower
Kasi
house.
kung ang hindi pumasa sa Senado, wala rin. Or hindi pumasok sa lower house, wala rin.
Naalala ko lang bigla yung pondo sa NTFL kasi naging
diba?
Senado natin dyan.
Sa Senado na din.
Oo, dyan tayo nagkaroon ng problema noon.
Alam mo, malaki talaga ang role ng Senate. Maraming mga bills na ipinasa. Even unanimously sa lower house.
Totoo yan. Tapos hindi lulusot sa Senado.
Hindi
lulusot sa Senate. So, but with a Mig Zubiri, a seasoned, talagang veteran, I covered Senate President Zubiri when he started as a congressman in the late 90s, dun sa lower house pa. And sabi nga ni Senator Joel Villanueva, talagang hinog na rin si Senator Mix at this is the right time for the peaking. At another Senate President, this coming from Mindanao.
And Yusek Joel, just a while ago, we saw him bang the gavel. I think he's delivering his message to the Senate.
Iyan po mga kababayan, napakinggan po natin ang kasalukuyang talumpati po ni Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri.
Our former colleagues of the Senate, to my family and friends, magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. To my colleagues, thank you for the trust. I shall repay that honor with hard work as your trabahador ng Senado. To my family, my wife Audrey, who's always been supportive of me 1,000%. To my children Adriana, Juan, me, and Sandy. To my mother and father, Mommy Vicky and Daddy Joe, I pledge that nothing I do will stain the memory of our ancestors or sour your love for me. It is with humility that I accept this position. I do so conscious of the burden it carries and committed to the work it entails. As presiding officer, I may wield the gavel, but not the power of this institution. That power is shared by us all, by every one of you, and more so our main responsibility of responding to the needs of the people and respecting their will. I say this, my friends, because you and I know that never has the fate of the Senate been dependent on the hands of only one man. It has always rested on the collective shoulders of all its members. The Senate has been described as one of the main engines of the ship of state, all of its 24 cylinders firing, unleashing the energy that propels our nation forward. However, this Senate does not merely row, it also steers the ship so it will not run into shoals or storms. It is the reason why we have to keep watch, always. But every new Senate's course is chartered by the challenges under which it operates. Every new Senate job description is written by the crisis it must confront. And ours is dictated by multiple crises before us. Food, fuel, fiscal, and the fading faith of our people in our institutions, just to name a few. On top of this is the COVID pandemic, which, courtesy of a mutating virus, will continue to disrupt lives and choke the economy before it can breathe its very last. But what it cannot suffocate is the fighting spirit of a people whose virtues of hard work, solidarity, compassion are greater than the virus at its vilest. This Senate will meet these big problems with bold thinking and brave legislation, but most especially, and I'm looking forward to this, bipartisanship. In this Senate workshop of great ideas, laws will be forged, and from which oversight of those who implement or ignore the laws will also be conducted. And speaking of oversight, we will exercise it not because we want to encroach
on the executive branch or emasculate it of its powers. We do so in order to help government, the presidency even, remedy deficiencies in the delivery of public services and recalibrate ineffective policies. This Senate, under my leadership, however, will be one to solve problems more than it would find faults. While probes are magnets for publicity, and I learned this from the father of Sani Angara, Senator Ed Angara, it is the policies, laws patiently written line by line away from the limelight that drives progress. But for us to do our role, we must uphold the Senate's proud tradition of being independent. And that is important because the Senate's independence is a linchpin of its two other hallmarks, industry and innovation. Generations of our predecessors, whose names are etched on the wall leading to this hall, have exercised this to the benefit of our people. The Senate, therefore, is not an office of 24 receiving clerks for executive proposals. We will improve what has been proposed to us as we initiate our own. We do so not because we are rivals of power or for power for the other branch, but because we are partners for progress. We do so not to compete for influence, but to cooperate for the ways and means on how to bring the nation forward. This stance, practiced by all the Senates which had sat before us, has been the proven formula on how this chamber has been able to uphold the interests of the Republic and promote the welfare of our people. Our vigilance has purged proposed laws of provisions that harm the people. Our insight, on the other hand, have maximized the gains of our people will reap from laws. When bills are unnecessarily complicated, we inject it with common sense. When bills attempt to overreach, we shield the vulnerable. And when proposed tax rates are higher than what is reasonable, we make them fair or we make them go away. When the suggested spending borders on the frivolous, we remind them to be frugal. And when problems remain unattended, we come up with solutions. Not even the COVID-19 pandemic prevented the Senate before us from making emergency bills like Bayanihan 1 and Bayanihan 2 evolve into superior pieces of legislation despite having to conduct business remotely because every man and woman in this chamber rose to that occasion. Today, my dear colleagues, we will troop to the Batasan to hear President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. perform his constitutional duty of telling us the state of the nation. For sure, he will be asking Congress to support initiatives that will address the people's clamor for jobs, bring down prices of basic goods, affordable food, humane transport, among other relief measures. And when he enumerates them, my dear friends, let us view them in the proper context. That this is not a presidential wish list he crafted on his own, but a president articulating what the people want. So let us respond to what the people want urgently. And let us do it to the time-honored fashion by which the Senate has acted upon during times of crisis, by harnessing the best ideas from our brightest can offer. So the cures will not just bring temporary relief, but also permanently release our people from what ails them. Acting on this urgent request, I will also allow us to redeem the campaign promises and pledges that we have made. This will be the first down payment of what we owe the people for the mandate they have gifted us with. So let us come up with bills that deliver a big payload of solutions to the big problems of the land. What the people truly want, that will improve their lives, and not just pogi points for the Senate. Laws that will bring social good, not just social media hits. Jobs created, hunger reduced, inflation slashed, GNP growth, houses built, higher school test scores, and middle class expanded are the metrics that should gauge our performance instead of likes, shares, and views. Legislation must not lag behind the social, economic, and technological curve, my dear colleagues. It also must be ahead of what the people want. This requires scrutinizing the budget so that the tax payments will be spent on things that will go or do greater good rather than to those or to do greater good to those who pay them. If there's one mission that should animate the Senate of the 19th Congress, it is an overriding theme. Then it must be a Senate of national reconstruction. But the recovery that we should work for together is not merely returning to where we were once before. It is catapulting ourselves to a better place than the past. And as we buckle down to work, let me issue some invitations. To the public, let me assure you that this is not only a multitasking Senate, it is also a crowdsourcing one. We value your ideas because this upper chamber will never be an echo chamber. To my fellow Senate workers, to the men and women of the Secretariat, in these trying times when so many expect so much from so few of us, the people expect no less than your hard work and professionalism. To my dear, dear colleagues in the majority, I remain with you in the trenches. I see no perks in this position. I temporarily hold this position through your grace, except the duty to work even harder. To my friends in the minority, I was once a loyal soldier of the opposition. And if there's one lesson I've carried with me ever since, it is that the strength of an idea is what makes it right, and not the sheer number of its believers. Let us debate and embrace ideas without regard from where they came from. My dear colleagues, my leadership will be one of consultation. Our output will be through consensus building. And if former Senate President Tito Sen was a father figure to all of us, then allow me to be your brother that will walk with you during these challenging times. Yes, my dear friends, no Senate in the past faced challenges as demanding and daunting as this one before us. But with hard work and dedication, we will deliver for the people. We shall help them overcome. The war against the pandemic is not yet over. The battle in many fronts is about to get worse. There is a future to be won. Let us go to our battle stations and fight to uplift our people's lives and make our nation even greater than before. Mabuhay ang Senado at mabuhay ang Pilipinas. Maraming salamat po.
Paano makakaiwas sa COVID-19? Magsuot ng face mask at face shield. Isanitize sa mga kamay, lumistansya ng 1 metro at limitahan ang pisikal na interaksyon sa iba. Siguraduhin ang magandang ventilasyon at airflow at magpabakuna para sa dagdag proteksyon. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa Department of Health, Center for Health Development ni Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito. Ang dating gawi, magagawa na nating muli kapag protektado. Kaya ugaliing mag-ingat. Ay, importante ang magpabakuna at magpa-booster shot. N, nagkakasakit, mag-isolate at magpa-test kung kailangan. G, gamitin ang telemedicine at home care para sa mild symptoms. A, alagaan ang kalusugan at T, tandaan ang mask, hugas at sapat na airflow. Muli, ugaliing mag-ingat para lahat tayo ay angat. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH-CHD ni Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito. Kaibigan, libre ang proteksyon na kaya natin ibigay para sa ating mga healthcare workers. Upang mabawasan ang bilang ng mga nao-ospital dahil sa COVID-19, maging bayani para sa ating mga bayani. Sa pagbabakuna, libre ang mas ligtas na pagtatrabaho para sa pamilyang Pilipino. Magpabakuna na! Para sa iba pang katanungan, makipag-ugnayan lamang sa inyong LGU, barangay at health center. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH-CHD ni Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito.
Sa pagluwag ng ating restriksyon at sa pagbaba ng umiiral na alert level system sa ating probinsya, tayo ay huwag magpakampante. Ang COVID-19 ay patuloy na umiikot sa ating paligid. Patuloy lamang nating matatamasa ang pagluwag ng mga restriksyon kung ating isasagawa ang mga health protocols. Ang mask, hugas, iwas at bakuna ay ating gampanin sa patuloy na pagbaba ng ating kaso sa ating bansa at tuluyang pagbangon ng ekonomiya. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH, CHD Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito.
Of the 1st Legislative District of Leyte as Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 19th Congress, may I submit for insertion into the records the copy of my manifestation, but let me quote excerpts from it. Representative Romualdez can shepherd the bills that can help our country as skillfully as he can stop the ones that harm our people. He knows the policies that need to be crafted and the pragmatism to get them passed. I am confident that with him, a constitutionalist at the helm, he will keep the plenary a hospitable space for all opinions while keeping the conveyor belt of laws moving. In these trying times, he is the leader we need who could marshal our collective will and wisdom in tackling the brave and bold things that must be done. It is therefore my honor to work with him as our Speaker. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the 3rd District of Davao City, the Honorable Isidro T. Ungab, be recognized to second the nomination.
The distinguished representative from the 3rd District of Davao City, the Honorable Isidro T. Ungab, is recognized.
Mr. Presiding Officer, it is my honor to second the nomination of the Honorable Martin Romualdez as Speaker of the House of Representatives in the 19th Congress. He is very much qualified, our former Majority Floor Leader in the 18th Congress, and it is with pride and honor that I second this nomination. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the 1st District of Antipolo City, the Honorable Roberto V. Puno, be recognized to second the nomination.
The distinguished representative from the 1st District of Antipolo City, the Honorable Roberto V. Puno, is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Mr. Presiding Officer, on behalf of the officers and members of the National Unity Party, it is my esteemed privilege and honor to second the nomination of the distinguished gentleman from the 1st Legislative District of Leyte, the Honorable Ferdinand Martin Romualdez, as the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Mr. Presiding Officer, I have known the nominee, Congressman Romualdez, since 2007. When we both entered into the halls of Congress as neophyte congressmen of the 14th Congress. I know him to be a man of intelligence, a man of integrity, a man of industry. Our nation needs someone who is familiar with the pulse of the nation and with the rigors and adversities of leadership. It is my humble submission that Honorable Ferdinand Martin Gomez Romualdez is best suited to undertake the role of Speaker of the 19th Congress. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer. Thank you.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the Lone District of Las Piñas, the Honorable Camille A. Villar, be recognized to second the nomination.
The distinguished representative from the lone District of Las Piñas City, the Honorable Camille A. Villar, is recognized.
Play Shopee Lucky Prize daily. Get a chance to win up to 50,000 pesos, gadgets, and more.
Presiding Officer, it is with great honor on behalf of the Nacionalista Party that I second the nomination of the Honorable Ferdinand Martin Romualdez of the 1st Legislative District of Leyte as the Speaker of the House of Representatives of the 19th Congress. Representative Romualdez is a dedicated public servant who champions the welfare of the Filipino people, a statesman who preserves the integrity and unity of this institution, a leader whose ultimate vision is the greatness of this nation. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the 2nd District of Ilocos Sur, the Honorable Christine Singson Mihan, be recognized to second the nomination.
A distinguished representative from the 2nd District of Ilocos Sur, the Honorable Christine Singson Mihan, is recognized.
Mr. Presiding Officer, on behalf of the Nationalist People's Coalition Party, I second the nomination of the Honorable Ferdinand Martin Romualdez of the 1st Legislative District of Leyte as Speaker of the House of Representatives. As we usher in the 19th Congress, we would be fortunate to have at the helm a man who has proven himself a reliable captain and navigator in what has been and continues to be one of the most turbulent periods in our country. The Honorable Romualdez maneuvered these uncharted waters with skill and grace, exhibiting a sublime knowledge of the law, a political acumen worthy of his family pedigree, and an unflappable and genial nature that served as a balm to flaring and fraying tempers in such troubled times. I so move, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the TUCP party list, the Honorable Raymond Democrito C. Mendoza, be recognized to second the nomination.
A distinguished representative from the TUCP party list, the Honorable Raymond Democrito C. Mendoza, is recognized.
Mr. Speaker, as it has been my distinct, rare, and privilege to serve 6 distinguished speakers, now on to my 7th, with much pride, personally, on behalf of the 16-strong PCFI, Party List Coalition Foundation Incorporated, under the strong leadership of our leader, Congressman Zaldeco, we gladly second the nomination of Honorable Ferdinand Martin Gomez Romualdez of the 1st District of Leyte to be our Speaker of the House of the Representatives of the 19th Congress. The track record of Representative Romualdez in both private and public, his performance as a majority leader, and we know this by heart, has both sterling and of highest caliber. In these trying times, pandemic and all, the Party List Coalition has full faith that Honorable Romualdez is the best person at the right place at the right time to steer us towards the right direction of unity of our country confidently rebuilds under the administration of President Bongbong Marcos. Together, the party list bloc, all party that with Representative Romualdez at the helm of the House of Representatives, it will blaze new trails, bringing hope and decency to the lives of all Filipinos. We know that Speaker Representative Martin Romualdez will bring a steady hand as always, an open mind as always, a listening ear to us and to the nation, a clear gaze to the future, a clarity of vision in assessing our current challenges as we bring us together in this house of the people to do God's work and truly serve the common good. Clearly, Mr. Speaker, you have our confidence, our trust to bring us upward, forward together, sir. Mabuhay si Speaker Romualdez, mabuhay kitang tanan dinhi sa Kongreso, mabuhay ang Pilipinas.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that the distinguished representative from the 3rd District of Pampanga, the Honorable Aurelio Dong D. Gonzales Jr., be recognized to second the nomination.
The distinguished representative from the 3rd District of Pampanga, the Honorable Aurelio Dong D. Gonzales Jr. is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. On behalf of the PDP party, I rise to second nomination of the Honorable Ferdinand Martin Gomez Romualdez of the 1st Legislative District of Leyte as the next Speaker of the House of Representatives. He served exceptionally well as Majority Leader in the last Congress, and I have faith that he will do even better as the Speaker of the House in the 19th Congress. He is steady, reliable, fair, and receptive to the concerns of his colleagues. I truly believe that he is the best position to implement the legislative agenda of the 19th Congress. So, Mr. Speaker, luwid ka, Speaker Martin, mabuhay ka, and my fellow Kapampangan, because the mother of Speaker Martin is also from Pampanga. So move, Mr. Speaker.
Mr. Presiding Officer, there being no other nominations for the position of Speaker of the House of Representatives, I move that the table for nominations be closed.
There is a motion to close the table for nominations for Speaker of the House of Representatives. Is there any objections? The chair hears none. The motion is carried.
Mr. Presiding Officer, I move that we now proceed with the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
There's a motion to proceed to the election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The election of the Speaker of the House of Representatives is now in order. The Deputy Secretary General of the Legislative Operations Department will now call the roll of members. May I request every member to state the name of the candidate he or she is voting for a Speaker of the House of Representatives upon being called.
Roll call of members. Honorable Representatives Abalos,
Council Pro.
Hello?
Ayan, go
na.
ahead po.
Okay. Okay, mga kababayan, nakita naman natin na sa lower house or House of Representatives ongoing no ang kanilang proseso sa pag-i-elect ng kanilang Speaker of the House. At sa Senado naman tapos na. Pero bigyan ko lang ng konting analysis no at konting pahayag, may kuro-kuro ba diyan sa Senado. Una, I think okay naman ang naging desisyon ng Senado na magkaroon ng Senate President in the personality ni Senator Mig Zubiri. Una kasi kung titignan mo season talaga siya na legislator na, matagal na in terms of experience, I think especially sa parliamentary procedure, gamay na niya yan, at saka yung personality niya parang friends to all, enemies to none. So pag kumamada siya kung ano yung mga priority bills na kailangan ipasa from both sides, the minority and the majority, though we have a super majority in the Senate, makikita mo na siguro mas madali at mas mabilis ang proseso. So that's one. Doon naman sa kanyang speech, ang nakita ko, parang katulad nga ng sinasabi natin, importante talaga, lumulutang naman kahit kay Senate President Mig Zubiri na food, fuel, at saka yung economic or finance, at saka yung tinatawag mong COVID-19 natin ay priority. Kasi tama naman, yun naman talaga ang pressing issues and matters that the country has to address or the officials of this land has to address. Pero one thing which is nakita ko, medyo nag-ring sa tenga ko, is yung tinatawag niya oversight function of the Senate or of the legislative branch. Very important kasi hindi nila trabaho lang ang magpasa ng batas. Okay? Ang trabaho nila din ay yung oversight. Ibig sabihin, tignan mo kung paano ini-implement ang batas. Kung effective ba yan, nasusunod ba o hindi. So kung hindi nasusunod, anong gagawin mo? Which is, kung nasusunod naman, very good. In terms also of budget. Kasi ang batas may budget yan for implementation. Kung nagagamit ng mabuti, nandyan ba sa tama o hindi. Very important ang oversight function ng Senado at ng House of Representatives. Pangalawa, is yung sinasabi niyang ang Senate daw ay magiging venue for debate. Yun ang hinahanap ko actually. For the longest time in this country, I'm looking for a meaningful debate in the Senate na ang dinidebate mo is importanteng mga issue at importanteng legislative measure. At sana, ang kanilang mga tinatawag mong investigation or probe ay hindi maging political grandstanding or ginagawa lang ng mga senador for political grandstanding tulad ng nangyari sa Pharmaly issue. Which is, my God, Senator a waste Gordon. Of money. Former Senator I-emphasize natin, former Senator Gordon. Kasi totoo, it's a waste of public funds, no? Mahalaga ang Senate President kasi pangatlong highest and most powerful official of the government yan. At pangalawa, highest ranking officer yan ng buong Senado. At yan ang pumipirma ng mga resolution at mga batas na papasa sa kanilang level. Pagdating naman sa Kongreso, gusto ko lang i-emphasize na ang Senado at ang Kongreso dapat in sync. In sync. Kasi ang daming mga batas, ang daming mga bills na pumapasa sa lower house, pagdating sa Senado, iba na ang nangyayari. Inuupuan or talagang ini-ignore or minsan dinideliberate pero walang nangyayari. So, kailangan in sync sila at alam nila kung ano ba talaga ang priority nila based doon sa priority ng ating executive level.
That is very clear, Professor.
Dapat in sync yan.
Kasi kung hindi, ay matitenga ang mga legislative measures at ang programa ng pamahalaan maapektuhan. The way na nangyari, Professor Yusek Joel, dito sa usapin tungkol sa continuation sana ng Barangay Development Program sa 1,406 barangays na dapat 20 million yan, Yusek Joel, naging 4 million na lang sa bicameral version, Yusek Joel. Naka-mute ka, Yusek.
Hello.
Okay. Go ahead, Yusek.
Hello, ayan, okay. Alright, I agree with Professor Ana, no? I share the same tatlong powerful quotes ang hindi ko makalimutan sa sinabi ni Senate President Mig Zubiri. And alam niyo, super majority na talaga itong hawak niya. Nasa likod ni President Bongbong Marcos because pareho majority floor leaders yung magiging leaders ng both houses. Well, first kay Senate President Zubiri, unang-una, malinaw na sinabi niya, yung isasubmit na legislative agenda ng ating Pangulo ay hindi niya wish list. Ito po ay ang people's want. So, nirarally niya ngayon yung kanyang mga kasama na ibigay ito kung ano yung kailangan, what the people want, no? Not the president, what the president wishes. So, dinistinguish niya yung dalawa. So, malinaw dito yung mga legislative agenda ng ating Pangulo ay talaga namang smooth ito. I believe, being a veteran Senate reporter, no, since the 90s, ganyan naman yan eh, no? So makikita mo yung linya ng kanyang panalta. Pangalawang powerful quote, tama yung nabanggit na rin kanina ni Prof. Ana, yung sa investigation, di ba? Sabi niya, resolution, yung oversight, no? But, sabi niya, ito kasing mga oversight, mahirap naman na we're just trying to gain hits, likes, and shares. Di ba? So there's another important role ng Senado which is unseen, unheard. Hindi yung, ito yung paggawa ng batas, line by line. Hello?
Yes, Yusek.
Yan, yun.
Mr. Joel, bago tayo ipagpatuloy na, panoorin muna natin itong naging panayam ng SMNI kay Palawan 3rd District Representative Edward Hagedorn.
Magandang umaga po. Muli dito pa rin tayo sa Batasan Complex at sa pagkakataong ito ay mapalad tayong makakapanayam ang bagong hinalal na kinatawan sa 3rd District of Palawan, si Congressman Edward Hagedorn. Sir, magandang umaga po at live po tayo sa ating programa dito sa SMNI. Sir, kumusta po ang pagiging bagong kongresista ng Palawan?
Well, medyo pag-aaralan po natin ang story. Well, first time akong pumasok sa legislation. Ngayon po yung aming first term as congressman. And hopefully, mapadala ko rin yung aking mga pangarap para sa ating mga kababayan.
Yes, and since being the first time congressman, ano po yung mga priority agenda na gusto nyong ilatag dito sa Kamara?
Well, yun din pong agenda ko noon when I was the mayor. Number one is education, environment, of course, and agriculture ngayon ang tututukan ko. Dahil yung aming kasamang munisipyo, ang Aborlan, talagang nakikita ko ang very important support na kailangan niya for agriculture ang gagawin natin.
Yes, Congressman Edward, ito rin po ang kauna-unahang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos. Ano naman po ang gusto niyong marinig sa kanya magiging speech mamaya?
Well, I'm hoping na mababanggit din niya ang topic about the environment. And of course, tuwan-tuwa kami na siya yung acting Secretary ng Agriculture dahil isa ito sa major programs na ilulungsad namin sa District 3 ng
Sir, isa sa mga mainit na inaasahan natin ngayon is yung sang-ayon po ba kayo na maituloy ang darating na SK election?
Well, I will always abide with the majority kung ano po yung maging desisyon ng ating mga kasama. Doon tayo.
About sa insurgency problem, since isa rin ito sa mga common na hinaharap na problema ng ating bansa.
Yes, well, luckily, wala po kami masyadong problema yan sa Palawan. Pero I'm sure kaya ni President Marcos.
Okay, maraming salamat po, Congressman Edward.
Siya po sa SMNI. Maraming salamat.
Yes, salamat po, sir. So, siya po mga ka-partner, si Congressman Edward Hagedorn ng 3rd District of Palawan. Back to you.
Yung binanggit ni former Mayor Edward Hagedorn na ngayon ay kongresista Yusik Joel, Professor Ana and Miss Ina, mga kababayan sa 3rd District of Palawan. Tama yung binanggit niya, sa kasalukuyan bumagsak na ang puwersa ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa Palawan dahil din sa pagsusumikap ng NTF-ELCAC dyan sa area na yan, katuwang ang Western Command, Westcom yan na primarily Marines ang nakadeploy dyan. At dyan si Kate Raka nga ang nagpapatotoo na 5 na lang yatang naiwan sa kanila at baka itinawid na ito papunta ng Mindoro. Pero magandang itinanong yon ng ating SMNI field reporters kay Congressman Edward Hagedorn yung role ng Pangulong Marcos sa pagpapasiguro na mawawala Professor Ana, Yusik Joel and Miss Ina ang numero 1 salot na nagwawasak ng ating bayan sa loob ng mahigit 50 taon ang CPP, NPA, and Professor Ana?
Oo, ako, yan actually, kasi nung in-interview ako dito sa SMNI, may 6 akong hinihintay na maririnig ngayong araw na to sa SONA ni President BBM, no? Isa doon is kung ano ang kanyang pronouncement pagdating sa fight against local insurgency.
Yes.
At pangalawa, yun nga kay yung nakabinbin na bill sa Senado tungkol sa institutionalization ng NTFL-CAC.
Yes.
At pangatlo is paano ba, ibabalik mo ba ang original na pondo ng NTFL-CAC kung saan malaki ang natapyas para sa barangay development. Ganito po kasi ang kasaysayan ng ating bansa, no? Ang nasa sentro, okay tayo kasi we benefit from the economic development.
Mas mabilis.
Mas mabilis ang trickle down kasi nandito tayo sa sentro like Manila, Davao City and all this. Pero ang problema kasi, ang development pagdating sa rural area at saka interior area. Yung barangay ang nandun eh. So kung hindi mo siya bibigyan ng priority, especially when you talk about infrastructure, livelihood, yan ay magiging susceptible sa mga tinatawag mong recruitment on the part of the community. Kasi ang recruitment, pagdating dyan sa NTFL, sa mga ano na yan, sa mga ating mga kalaban ng Estado, is hindi lang yan nangyayari sa universities.
Yes.
Nangyayari yan. Pero nangyayari dyan yan sa communities. Kasi ini-exploit nila yung issues. Yun, exploitation of issues na piniframe nila in a different way na hindi naman ganon.
Tama.
Oo, so kung hindi mo bibigyan niya ng emphasis in terms of funding, yan ang problema.
Tama, agree. At tamang binanggit Yusek Joel, babalikan ka namin dyan, sa tinutumbok mo kanina na napakahalaga ng role ng liderato ng Kamara de Representante or ng lower house at ng Senado sapagkat sila ang magbibigay ng buhay doon sa marching orders of the President kung saan patungo ang buong pamahalaan. Yusek Joel, balikan ka namin doon sa binabanggit mong mga natatandaan mong magagandang ipinanawagan ni ngayon lang nakaupo ng Senate President at sana ay may ganong kung si Professor Ana Pamisina in sync. Magkatugma at magkadugtong na layunin ng direksyon sa legislaturang pamumuno ang Speaker of the House, Yusek Joel. Go ahead po.
In sync nung dalawang houses ng ating Kongreso, no, lower and yung Senate, ay will not be a problem. Kasi malinaw sa House, no? Apparent na magiging speaker talaga si Congressman Martin Romualdez, who used to be majority leader, like Senate President Mig Subiri. Ito yung dalawang majority leaders ng Kongreso who helped us, the Philippines, tide over, di ba, during the pandemic. Ito yon, very crucial yung naging role nila. Ngayon, balikan natin yung sinasabi ko kanina about kay Senator Subiri, yung tatlong powerful quotes na hindi ko makalimutan, no? Yung una, yung sinasabi niya na ito, malinaw na mensahe. Hindi wish ng Pangulo ang kanyang isasubmit, but what the people want. And sabi niya, mga kasama ko, colleagues, let's deliver what the people want. Malinaw yun, no? So, hindi ito wish list ng ating Pangulo. Ito ay refleksyon ng pangailangan ng ating mga kababayan. So, malinaw yung legislative track or agenda ay in sync agad sa ating Pangulo. Pangalawa, yung sinasabi, yung the importance of oversight. Sabi niya, yung mga resolutions na yan, investigations, ay let us not forget na hindi lang tayo magiging sa social media ng mga hits, likes, and shares. But there's another very important function talaga nila na hindi nakikita ng publiko, yung day-to-day na pagbalasa nila ng mga batas line by line. That's the second na nag-strike sa akin. And thirdly, yung binanggit din ni Prof. Ana kanina, yung debate. You know what he said? And I cannot forget this, no? The power of an idea. The strength of an idea, sabi niya, it's more powerful than the number of its believers. Ibig sabihin, hindi naman porket popular, or kung hindi naman popular yung isang idea, ay ano na siya, no? Ay mali. So, in context sa ELCA, kalimbawa, itong mga re-recruit na ito, yung mga communist terrorist groups and their fronts, no? Ang dami-dami nila kunwari. But yung idea nila will no longer be accepted and actually had been rejected and thrown to the trash bin of history by the Filipino people. So yun yung mga three powerful quotes.
Yun ang aming tinatandaan, Professor Ana, that we would like to participate dito sa advocacy, Ms. Ina, na binabanggit ni Professor Ana, should Senator Bato de la Rosa and the leadership of Senate President Mig Zubiri move forward na talakayin ang National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, kasi we have the agenda there na agenda namin sa loob ng proposal na yan ang pag-institutionalize ng National Security Awareness and Call to Action sa lahat ng mga sektor, sa sektor ng edukasyon, sa pamahalaan, at sa lahat ng mga lipunang bahagi natin at mga komunidad, yung paglalantad sa totoong mukha, modus operandi na ginagawa ng CPP, NPA, NDF to prevent recruitment, yung binabanggit mo, Professor Ana. Dapat magkaroon ng konkretong laman ang institutionalization of the NTF-LCAC, including ang pag-institutionalize ng Barangay Development Program, Miss Ina.
Yes, ka-Eric, Professor Ana and Yusek Joel, no? Makakasama natin ngayong umaga si Assistant Solicitor General Justice Angelita Miranda para pag-usapan din ito. No? Kanina ang Senado, di ba, panday ng batas. Narito naman, pag-usapan natin ang justice system natin ngayon, particular nga dito sa ating pinag-usapang laban kontra mga komunistang terorista. Good morning po, Justice Miranda. Welcome po sa ating special coverage po para sa unang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Justice Angie.
Welcome, Justice Miranda. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning, Professor.
Good morning.
I'd like to say hi first to Yusek Joel, to my colleagues in the NTF-LCAC, LCC, Attorney Marlon, Mr. Chair of the Region 6, Prosecutor 2, Chris Gonzalez, and to all of you there. Thank you for having me here.
Good morning, Justice Angie, ka-Eric here, and we have Miss Ina. Opo, kasama natin si Miss Ina. Opo, nami-miss ka namin. At si Yusek Lorraine was about to join us already, pero may problema lang sa technical side, kaya inaayos pa. And maybe she can join us later kung makakahabol pa. Justice Angie, unang tanong namin, napakahalaga po ang role ninyo bilang bahagi ng isa sa pinaka-importanting clusters ng ating NTF-LCAC, which is the Legal Cooperation Cluster, upang ma-address po ang palaging tinatanong ng taong bayan, anong ginagawa ng government dito sa mga na-identify na ng mga urban operatives, recruiters, at mga galamay ng CPP, NPA, NDF na nag-ooperate sa schools, universities, pabrika, pati sa abroad, and even inside the government. Sa tingin po ninyo bilang bahagi pa rin ng kasalukuyang NTF-LCAC, Justice Angie, ano ang inyong ini-expect na maririnig mula kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos in terms of strengthening and moving forward yung mga inabot ng NTF-LCAC from the previous administration? Your take on that, Justice Angie?
Thank you.
Hey Shopee fam! Watch Shopee Live on the app every Friday starting July 15. Get up to 50% off, plus free shipping discount vouchers. And 15% off discounts. Download Shopee now. Shopee!
Eric, for that. Okay, I'm expecting from our dear President his statement on the enhancement and expansion of the NTF-LCAC, because what we did before for the past 4 years during the past administration had been so solid. If I'm going to tell you, Tagalog po ba o English?
Okay lang, both Taglish.
Okay. Taglish. If I'm going to enumerate to you all the things that the legal cooperation across the country, 17 regions, one of that guys, Region 6, they've been so cooperative and on board on our thrust to file cases, mauubos po itong time natin. So who are saying, walang pinafile na kaso, napakarami po. If I can enumerate to you, 1,500 something IHL cases, na-file na po ang 10 niyan sa Region 10, under prosecutor, Regional Prosecutor Uy, Marlene Uy, those are just the numbers that I remember concretely. And we filed cases already in the DOJ and so many cases. Sobra talagang madami. So yung mga naghahanap noong mga kaso daw, napakarami na po. It's just a matter of you researching it and asking the 17 regions. In fact, right now, we have 2 live cases of disqualification cases against the Gabriela and the Kabataan Party List. They sit now in Congress. But we have plenty of evidence pointing to them as the fora for recruitment of our children across the country in different universities. So what I'm expecting from the president is to strengthen and enlarge the NTF-ELCAC as he promised before. And of course, the security sector, because we are adopting the whole of the nation and the whole of the government approach. So talagang dapat magtulungan po. Isa lang po kami sa 12 clusters na tumutulong para matapos na po itong 53 scores in the society, which is the NTF or the Communist, the CPP, NPA, NDF.
Malinaw.
The Communist Terrorist Group. Thank you.
Malinaw yung bananggit ni Justice Angie. Si Professor Ana will have some interaction with you, our guest co-anchor, while on standby Miss Ina, si Prosecutor Chris Gonzalez, and maybe a little bit a while, si Attorney Marlon Bosantog. Professor Ana, please go ahead.
Yes, ang tama ho kayo, sa 12 cluster, isa kayo sa pinaka-importanting cluster. At sinabi nyo nga, 1,500 cases. And may live cases tayo ngayon ng Gabriela at Kabataan. Hinihintay natin to. Kung ano nang mangyayari, di ba? Pero sa akin, naniniwala ako na kapag may directive na maririnig tayo ngayon coming from the President, mas may strengthen din ang resolve ng members ng NTF-ELCAC at yung 12 cluster na yan in doing their job. Kasi alam mo, iba kasi yung, ikaw o nandun ka, nagtatrabaho ka, pero kapag nandun sa taas, nanggagaling yung puwersa at yung pronouncement, mas lalo kang ginaganahan at nagkakaroon ka ng security na whatever you're doing, you have the backing of the President. That's very, very important. Yun ang hinihintay ko rin, na makita ko yun at marinig ko. Kasi kapag ako nagtatrabaho for this NTF-ELCAC, then, Diyos ko, parang sinabi mo na rin na, okay, I'm being backed up by the highest official of the land, and kasi hoda, sino kayo dyan? We'll proceed and we'll go. Ganun yun eh.
Which naipakita, Justice Angie, ng previous administration, and we hope the same ang linya ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos, Justice Angie.
Wala nang tumpik-tumpik, di ba? Dapat ganun, di ba?
Yes, go ahead, Justice Angie.
I'm expecting that. In fact, the Legal Cooperation Cluster is expecting full support from our dear President, the sitting President right now, because if the end view is to have a lasting peace for our republic, its body politic, it should come from the Commander-in-Chief. And that is our President. Thank you.
At i-rejoinder ko lang ng 30 seconds kay Justice Miranda is yung strengthening. Kasi ang pronouncement din ni Professor Carlos is strengthening NTF-ELCAC. Gusto kong malaman, as a Filipino, how would you do it? How would you do it? In concrete terms. I don't think doing research is just one, no? Or conducting seminar on research is one. No, I'm being honest with my opinion, no? I'm being honest, and I think Professor Carlos is open-minded enough to accept honest opinion. No?
Professor Ana, Eric, Justice Miranda, and Yusek Egco, before we go further into our discussion, let me introduce first our another guest today, si Prosecutor Clostomer Chris Gonzalez po, ang NTF spokesperson for legal affairs. That isa rin si prosecutor talaga sa agresibo pagdating dito sa legal aspect po ng NTF-ELCAC. Good morning, Prosec. Welcome sa ating special coverage po ng State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Good morning, Ina. Good morning, Justice Miranda, Eric, and Professor Ana.
Good morning, sir.
And we have also Yusik Joel on the other side, sa Zoom line. Prosecutor Chris. Yung tanong namin, idudugtong namin sa iyo, Prosecutor Chris. Gaano kahalaga sa inyong mga nasa front line sa pamumuno ng implementation ng NTF-ELCAC clusters regional operations, so to speak, on the ground sa mga rehiyon at probinsya. Kagaya ninyo nila Justice Anjet, ikaw bilang regional prosecutor dyan sa Legal Cooperation Cluster sa rehiyon ng Western Visayas. Gaano kahalaga po ang categorical marching order and program of declaration coming from the President, concretely defining anong gusto niyang mangyari sa pagpapalakas ng NTF-ELCAC, as the way Professor Ana, our guest co-anchor now, is saying na hindi pwedeng hindi maging categorical ang Pangulo dito. At sabi ni Justice Angie, yes, of course, he has to. Because Pangulong Bongbong Marcos is the Commander-in-Chief and the lead executive officer of the entire government and of the entire security
don't forget,
forces.
The chairman
of
of
NTF-ELCAC. Thank you for the reminder, Professor and Ms. Ina. Go ahead po, Prosecutor Chris Gonzalez.
We are already at the end game in putting an end to the CPP and PNDF. This is not the time that we hesitate. This is the time that we should be moving forward with our gains. And just like our chairperson for the Legal Cooperation Cluster said, we have filed a multitude of cases against the CPP and PNDF. This is not the time that we should relax. Kumbaga, paano nasimula natin 3 years ago, we should continue. Kumbaga, full throttle.
Yes.
Push forward.
Agree.
We should not stop. Dapat hindi ho natin bigyan ng pahinga yung kalaban.
Oh, hindi dapat.
Dahil ang kalaban hindi nagpapahinga.
That's the term. Momentum is very important in physics.
Hindi nga sila.
Yeah, Yusik
hindi
Joel.
sila nagpapalit-palit eh.
Yeah, Yusik Joel, you're saying
tama
na...
yan, hindi nagpapahinga ang kalaban.
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah, narinig ka namin. Go ahead.
Hello. Yes, yun. Yun, tama yun. Hindi nagpapahinga ang kalaban. In fact, hindi nagpapalit.
Yes, agree. And that is one advantage of them.
Sila pa rin ang nandyan.
Yes, paulit-ulit na sila pa rin ang namumuno. Like Joe Masison. Mahigit 4 na dekada or almost 40 years wala na sa Pilipinas. Pero siya pa rin ang kinikilala ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa Pilipinas na siyang tagapagkumpas nila. And very clearly, Yusik Joel, ang binanggit mo, hindi pwedeng maging tentative, hindi pwedeng ipagpaliban, hindi pwedeng 25 days pa lang ang Pangulo. It's not about honeymoon period.
It's not about the number of days.
Yes.
It's much more about the resolve to really pursue and continue the momentum. Kasi sila, masisipag yung mga yan. So kailangan tayo, doble ang sipag, doble ang momentum, at doble ang ang direksyon na susugan mo talaga. Kasi matatalo ka dyan.
Pag ikaw ay magpatumpik-tumpik.
What's worse?
And then lahat ng gains ng previous administration,
mawawala.
It will be in vain.
Yeah, Miss Ina.
So
what's
we
worse,
don't want
Prof,
that, no?
bukod sa wala talagang malinaw na pagsasalita mula sa ating Pangulo, meron siya kasama sa pamahalaan na nagsasabi ng stop red tagging.
Yun ang problema kung hindi malinaw. Pero to be straightforward, hindi pa pinirmahan ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ang designation officially ni nagpapakilalang Deputy NSA Romel Banlawi at ng 3 pa niyang kasama o 2 pa. So, hindi sila pwedeng magpahayag ng mga pahayag as if they are representing the official policies of the government pertaining to NTF-ELCAC direction unless yun ay magiging official ng pahayag kung permado na ang kanilang appointment or designation. Professor Ana,
so wala pang appointment?
Wala. Ang may appointment lang si Professor Clarita Carlos. At ang may designation na permado na. And because of that, Prosecutor Chris and Justice Angie, ang tanong namin dito sa Laban Kasama ang Bayan, what other concrete terms would you like to listen to from the President na gusto niyong mahayag niya bilang mga pinuno ng National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict at the different levels that you're performing it? Kasama yan si Yusik Joel Pamandian din. At kami din, nakasama sa bumuo nito na galing sa CPP, NPA, NDF at yumayakap na sa pamahalaan. What other concrete terms would you like to hear from the President regarding sa marching order not only on the NTF-ELCAC but sa overall na pagtatagumpay natin sa mga challenges ng pandemya, ekonomiya, inflation at lalo na sa local communist terrorism? Let's go first kay Justice Angie and then kay Prosecutor Chris of the same insights na hiningi namin dito sa Laban Kasama ang Bayan. Go ahead po, Justice Angie.
Okay, thank you. As I've said, full support, and expect that the consistency of pursuing this communist terrorist group for the past 53 years would be there, coming from him. No, I expect that, and especially on the national security concerns. Wag nating baguhin sana yung mga proven and tested na under the whole of the nation approach and whole of the government approach. Kung ang nakikita po natin, very concrete na yung successes. Sabi nga ni Chris kanina, gains. Why are we going to waste these gains by adopting a new scheme, a new method, etc., etc.? So, yun ang ina-expect ko kasama kay President being the chairperson of the NTF-ELCA. Mind you, ang meaning ng ELCA is by itself descriptive of our goal to end a local communist armed conflict. So therefore, being the chairperson, siya po sana ang mag-guide sa atin, if not to continue to improve more and to encourage all the government agencies to work under the whole of the nation and the whole of the government approach.
Claro.
Thank you.
Miss Ina?
Yes, Justice.
Dito na tayo sa Mega Tuna. Alam nating totoo. Mega Tuna! Pure tuna satisfaction.
Miranda and fiscal Chris, no? Isa po talaga sa pressing issues na hinaharap natin, no, as far as a communist terrorist group is concerned, is ito pong sa legal aspect dahil may mga cases po talaga na nadidismiss, siguro technicality or what, pero andun po talaga yung hamon pagdating sa usaping legal. How do you think po the Marcos administration will be able to help, at least dito po sa ating justice part, na makuha po talaga itong laban natin kontra CPP and PNDF po?
Yeah, Prosecutor Chris, kadugtong din doon sa sagot kay Justice Angie, yung tanong na rin na idudugtong namin, yung tinanong ni Miss Ina.
Yes, salamat. I would like to hear from the President na sabihin niya na i-operationalize na uli yung National Task Force ELCAC Secretariat. Ibalik na yung mga working directors natin sa national. And the staffing pattern natin sa NTF-ELCAC Secretariat dapat buuin na so that the regional task forces can once again work at full throttle. And the most important component ng ating legal battle is ang information operations aspect.
Yes.
We have to inform the people what is happening. So that's why there is a need for the President to once again constitute the strategic communications cluster and put back the people who know how to do the job. We have Yusek Lorraine, Yusek Joel, we have Yusek Katura, and Yusek Malaya, and Gay Florendo, our spokespersons. Of course, we have Attorney Marlon here.
Yes.
And the strategic communications has been an essential aspect of ending the communist insurgency. And we have to strengthen our collaboration with the national cadre team of the Sambayanan, headed by no less than Ka Eric, because we have the people who have the expertise, the experience, and the first-hand knowledge of how the CPP and PANDF works to deceive our people. So if these components can be given priority by the President, then the Philippines and the Filipino people will be in good hands.
Claro. Miss Ina, before si Professor Ana mag-interact at si Yusek Joel.
Yes, at ipakilala din natin, no, at makakasama din po, no, isa sa pinakamatatapang at matatalinong tumitindig po para sa ating mga kapatid na IP, si Attorney Marlon Busanto. Good morning, Attorney.
Yun!
Ang dami na natin, mga bigatin. Professor Ana.
Pagkasama tayo amin. I'm glad to be back.
Hello po.
Yeah, Attorney Marlon, magandang umaga.
Marlon, good morning.
Kasama po ninyo si Miss Ina, si Professor Ana on the studio, guest anchor natin, and then si Yusek Joel, si Justice Angie, and si Prosecutor Chris. Attorney Marlon, gusto ka namin bigyan ng pagkakataon dahil ito ay special episode about the expectations of the Filipino people at mga namumuno sa ating pamahalaan at sa ating bayan, katuwang ang pamahalaan regarding sa inyong gustong marinig bilang leader ng katutubong pamayanan sa Pilipinas at bilang nag-abogado na isa sa mga nagpanday ng Legal Cooperation Cluster with Justice Angie and Prosecutor Chris. What do you expect to hear from the President's first SONA?
Alam po naman natin na ang usapin ng pangkapayapaan or any peace dialogue must involve necessarily the indigenous peoples. First and foremost, majority of the armed component po ng NPA ay mga indigenous peoples, and the area where they operate were declared as revolutionary highways happen in the ancestral domain. So that we can never proceed with the idea of peace and development on these areas kung hindi natin isasama ang issues ng indigenous peoples. And yung nasabi po ni Pangulong Marcos noon during the campaign was to give back the land of the indigenous peoples. Tama po yung na direction because we believe that at the heart of all problems of indigenous peoples, nandyan po ang recognition ng land ownership, recognition po ng ancestral domain. Kung ipagpapatuloy po ang programa na pagbibigay ng titulo, ang tinatawag mong ancestral domain title sa mga IPs natin, numbering to around 16 to 18 million, covering around 40% of the total land area of the Philippines, I do believe that we are on the right track. No? At dito naman po sa issue ng NTF-ELCAC, what I want to hear is clear messaging. Because right now, mixed messaging na nangyayari is creating confusion on the ground. For the longest time, there has been a culture of fear and impunity inside the ancestral domain kasi pinapatay po ang mga tribal leaders dyan kung hindi sila nakikiayon sa CPP, NP, MDF. Now, what we have developed from NTF-ELCAC is a culture of trust. Most of them now are going back sa fault ng government, even asking yung mga kapatid natin na nasa kilusan na bumaba. No? They are convincing them because they trust the government. That culture of trust can easily be broken if there is mixed messaging.
Agree.
Pag sinasabi mo na walang renta, huwag tayo mag-renta at mga ganun, what happens will you go back to the culture of fear and impunity because these people, pinataya po nila literal ang kanilang mabuhay para sa ating gobyerno. If you create that certain doubt and uncertainty, magpo-fold po ang mga yan. Babalik ulit sa kanilang culture of fear. So that the culture of trust must never be broken by mixed messaging.
Agree. Hold on muna, Attorney Marlon, ha? May ipapaabot lang si Miss Ina.
Balita, no? Ito, libo-libong mga taga-suporta ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos inaasahang dadating para sa kauna-unahang SONA All Concert na gaganapin sa kahabaan ng IBP Road, Quezon City. Si Franco Baranda magbabalita live. Franco?
Yes, magandang tanghali. Ina, Professor Ana, and Ka Eric. Kasalukuyan nandito nga tayo sa kahabaan ng IBP Road dito sa Quezon City kung saan gaganapin ang SONA All Concert Watch Party. At inaasahan na dadagsain nito ng libo-libong mga taga-suporta ni President Bongbong Marcos Jr. At kung saan ito'y sa panguna ng Malayang Quezon City kung saan ang chairman nito ay si Mike Defensor. At kung ating titignan sa aking likuran, yan yung stage na gaganapin. At mayroon 200 metro ang layo nito mula sa south wing ng Kongreso at mula dito sa pagdadausan ng SONA All Watch Party. Aabot ng 1 hektarya ang laki ng lugar para sa inaasahang mga supporters na dadalo sa watch party. Maliban sa malaki na LED wall sa entablado ng SONA All Concert, ay mayroon ding 4 pang LED wall ang nakaset up sa kahabaan ng IBP Road upang masiguradong lahat ng narito ay makakapanood sa SONA ng Pangulo. Upang matiyak ang seguridad at kaayusan sa lugar, ay narito ang Bureau of Fire Protection, Marines, Philippine Coast Guard at 650 mula sa hanay ng kapulisan ang nakabantay ngayong araw. Nakaabang naman ang mga ambulansya at rescue vehicles sa anumang posibleng mangyari. Katulad nga ng di inaasahang banggaan ng 2 bisikleta kanina kung saan 2 ang sugatan, ay may mabilis na nakaresponde ang ating first aiders sa mga ito. Sa kabilang banda naman, inaasahan ang presensya ng iba't ibang banda sa pangunguna ng plethora at iba pang mga personalidad na atin namang antabayanan pagkatapos ng SONA. Ina, Prof. Ana, and Ka Eric at sa lahat ng ating mga kasama dyan sa Laban Kasama ang Bayan ay para sa lahat ng dadalo dito sa ating concert na maya-maya ay mag-uumpisa na mamayang alauna, ay kailangan silang magdala rin ng kanilang mga ID dahil mahigpit ang ating seguridad sa pagpasok pa lang dito dahil kahit mismong residente mula dito sa loob ng area kung saan gaganapin ng concert ay hinahanapan rin ng ID. Pero inaasahan rin na magiging successful ang concert na ito dahil nga sa maayos na pakikipag-isa ng iba't ibang ahensya para sa seguridad at kaayusan nang sa gayon ay walang mangyaring kaguluhan sa gaganaping concert. Ina, Prof. Ana, and Ka Eric.
Okay, maraming salamat, Franco, sa inyong report. Parang sobrang strict, no? Ang security kahit sa concert.
Parang na-traumatize doon sa nangyari kahapon sa Ateneo, no?
Or hindi, kasi ang alam ko...
Malisa si Franco.
Ang alam ko, doon sa security, talagang...
Meron sana itatanong, sige na.
Friday pa lang alam ko na masyadong pero strict ang security sa Kongreso at even sa lahat ng area na papasukan, area ng Quezon City na, sa akin parang naninibago lang ako. Naninibago ako kasi ang SONA ni President Duterte, though may ganun din security measures pero not that strict to a greater extent.
Tama, because Professor, kung makakabalik mamaya si Brother Franco, tatanungin natin ang ground situation sa nakikita niya sapagkat ang first two SONA, State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Duterte, umiiral ang undeclared tactical alliance.
Alliance, yes.
Sa pagkakatanda ko, Ka Eric, ang unang SONA na pagkakaisa. Hindi siya protest, parang in support noon.
May people's agenda sila, pero hindi nila binabatikos si Pangulong Duterte. Sapagkat umiiral ang undeclared tactical alliance, pinagbigyan sila ni Pangulong Duterte. May 3 cabinet posts sila and a score of undersecretary and assistant secretary position. Until noong 2017, nang mangyari ang Marawi Siege at nag-declare ng martial law sa Mindanao, si Pangulong Duterte at naipalibing din ang bangkay ni Pangulong Marcos Sr. sa libingan ng mga bayani, nagsimulang dumistansya ang alyansa na ito at doon nagsimula ang kiskisan sa SONA 2018 onwards.
Pero may isa nangyayari sa ground.
Sila at nanununog.
Kaya medyo, sabi nga, ang goodwill, ina-abuse ang goodwill nung panahon ni President Duterte.
I may add something to that. Tama, si Prof. Ana, buti binanggit mo Prof. Ana. Alam mo, naniniwala po ako na nire-respeto nila si ceasefire. Sis ang gobyerno, fire sila.
Tama.
Agree.
Klaro. Sis ang gobyerno.
Yan ang ceasefire.
Sila fire. Kasi Yusek Joel and Professor Ana, Justice Angie, Attorney Marlon, and Prosecutor Chris.
Sa pagluwag ng ating restriksyon at sa pagbaba ng umiiral na alert level system sa ating probinsya, tayo ay huwag magpakampante. Ang COVID-19 ay patuloy na umiikot sa ating paligid. Patuloy lamang nating matatamasa ang pagluwag ng mga restriksyon kung ating isasagawa ang mga health protocols. Ang mask, hugas, iwas at bakuna ay ating gampanin sa patuloy na pagbaba ng ating kaso sa ating bansa at tuluyang pagbangon ng ekonomiya. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH, CHD Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito.
Kaibigan, libre ang proteksyon na kaya natin ibigay para sa ating mga healthcare workers. Upang mabawasan ang bilang ng mga nao-ospital dahil sa COVID-19, maging bayani para sa ating mga bayani. Sa pagbabakuna, libre ang mas ligtas na pagtatrabaho para sa pamilyang Pilipino. Magpabakuna na! Para sa iba pang katanungan, makipag-ugnayan lamang sa inyong LGU, barangay at health center. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH, CHD Mimaropa at ng himpilang ito. Ang dating gawi, magagawa na nating muli kapag protektado. Kaya ugaliing mag-ingat. I, importante ang magpabakuna at magpa-booster shot. N, nagkakasakit, mag-isolate at magpa-test kung kailangan. G, gamitin ang telemedicine at home care para sa mild symptoms. A, alagaan ang kalusugan at T, tundaan ang mask, hugas at sapat na airflow. Muli, ugaliing mag-ingat para lahat tayo ay angat. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa DOH-CHD ni Maropa at ng himpilang ito. Paano makakaiwas sa COVID-19? Magsuot ng face mask at face shield. Isanitize ang mga kamay, lumistansya ng 1 metro at limitahan ang pisikal na interaksyon sa iba. Siguraduhin ang magandang ventilasyon at airflow at magpabakuna para sa dagdag proteksyon. Ito ay isang paalala mula sa Department of Health, Center for Health Development ni Maropa at ng himpilang ito.
At ang enemies of the state, precisely the CPP and PA, precisely because they were part of it.
Yeah, well said and very logical.
Bakit hindi minamaximize kayo?
Yun din ang aming ipinagtataka, no, Professor Ana.
Hindi ka daw niya kilala ka, Eric, kahit nakilala ka naman.
Oo, pero okay lang naman sa amin, Professor Ana, sapagkat may laban kasama ang bayan, that we can have the advocacy platform here through the generosity of SMNI and Pastor Kiboloy. Attorney Marlon,
anong masasabi niyo
ayun,
po?
sa pagtingin ni Professor Ana, na kailangan ang strong information component because this is a narrative war at kailangan mayroong organized communication group which is the strategic communication cluster na dati ay very dynamic na umaandar sa nakaraang
Imagine mo kapag may nangyari ngayon, halimbawa may ambush sa taga-ano ako Region 8, no? I'm from the Eastern Visayas. Ano yan, pugad yan. Diyos ko, ang dami dyan. Tawag nito, ang nangyayari, halimbawa may nangyaring ambush. Noong panahon ni Pangulong Digong, hindi pa kinakabukasan. After 30 minutes,
nandun na siya.
Nandun na si President Digong. Pero ang importante, may statement. Galing sa NTFL kakagad, hindi pa nagte-30 minutes sa ang bilis. So alam na ng mga tao kung anong nangyari, ano lang ang posisyon ng gobyerno. So walang confusion.
At saan patungo ang suporta ng mamamayan?
Ngayon parang yun ang hinahanap ko eh.
Sana makabawi siya ngayong zona niya. Mabanggit pa rin niya itong mga the past 3 weeks na pananahimik na napapansin natin sa ating
pero it's very close to my heart because I'm from Eastern Visayas.
Yes, doon nangyari sa area mo, Professor. Itong tatlong atrocities ng CPP, NPA, NDF sa Mapana, sa Katubig, saka sa Gandara.
Gandara is even part of Western Samar.
Correct.
And some of my really loved ones is based there.
Pamilya mo nandun.
Nandun.
Yeah.
So,
Attorney,
extended.
Yeah, extended. Attorney Busantog and then si Justice Angie and si Prosecutor Chris, then we go to Yusek Joel habang nag-aantay ng mga karagdagang field reports, Ms. Ina. Go ahead po, Attorney Marlon.
Di ba sa lahat ng security briefing natin, it's almost aligned that 90% of this war is propaganda, 10% is tactical. And that therefore, the importance of strategic communication is paramount. Kaya yung tinitira nila ngayon lagi is yung mga spokesperson ng NTF-ELCAC. There was even a time where they tried to assassinate the spokespersons of NTF-ELCAC. Kasi yung talaga sila, doon sila nakakakuha ng relevance ng validity na pag sinatawag na silang human rights. But we, and must even sila, they're not really human rights defenders, but they're actually human rights violators. Doon sila natatanggal natin ang kanilang maskara sa international community who view them as human rights defender. Kaya nga I have been an advocate for the longest time that the forefront of this strategic communication campaign should be the former rebels. Bakit? Kasi pag si Ka Eric ang nagsasalita, si Ka Noel or si Ka Amihan ang nagsasalita na sinasabi na sila ay CPP, NPA, walang response ang mga yan. Pero pag si Yusek Loren, for example, or tayo, sinasabi lang nila na red tagging, but they had never said the same against the former FRs kasi wala silang pangbalik. Tama po si Professor Ana, these are the living in historical evidence na sila po mismo ang gumawa. They are the evidence na totoo ang sinasabi natin. Kaya nga hindi sila makapagsalita because they will lose their credibility inside sa samahan. Correct. So I do hope that yung bago nating head sa NTF-ELCAC, they should see strategic communication as the focal point of this war. Andiyan po yung legal sa tabi nila, kaya huwag silang mag-alala. I'm very sure, takot ang mga yan kasi every time na magsalita ka, bubuhuhasan ka ng maraming kaso. Doon po nagkakaroon ng ugnayan ang Stratcom sa legal. They should never be afraid na magsalita. Kasi kung spokesperson mo ay takot or hindi clear ang kanyang sinasabi or paiba-iba ang kanyang sinasabi, we can never make the message clear.
Yeah, klaro. Justice Angie, same insights ang ating hingin kay Justice Angie. Nandiyan pa ba si Justice Angie?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
I'm still here, Eric.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Well, I adopt, of course, what my very good lawyer, former lawyer here in the Office of the Solicitor General said, Attorney Marlon. And in addition to that, the strongest evidence in law should be based on personal knowledge.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
agree.
That you witnessed a crime, that you were there, etc., etc. Itong former cadres, they are all testifying based on their personal knowledge. That's why it's very hard to debunk them. Kaya nasa silent talaga sila kung ito na mga nagsasalita. Kayo, Eric,
Yes,
sila
ma'am.
Kaamihan, and a number of cadres, no? So, what is very important here is we have to have a centralized communication, as previously suggested, and communication is the key
Yeah.
to all of the successes of this NTF-ELCA. Thank you.
I totally agree.
Well said.
Nice.
Miss Ina.
Alam naman natin, ka Eric, Prof, and then our guest, no, na propaganda war. Isa sa mga minaster din talaga yan ng mga kaaway ng Estado, yung pagpapropaganda.
That's right.
Kaya kung titigilan natin ito, talagang malaki ang chance na makakabalik sila through propaganda.
Precisely.
Lalo na ang nakaupo ngayon, di ba? Alam naman natin ng history rin, no, ng martial law, kung bakit napilitan si dating Pangulong Ferdinand na Ferdinand Marcos
Senior.
Senior.
na ipatupad ang martial law dahil
Yeah.
na rin sa banta ng insurhensya. At ngayon, nagbalik ang kanyang anak naman, nandito pa rin. Pero mahina na sila, di ba? Kaya ito yung inaasahan na ating mga kababayan na dapat padapain na tuloy-tuluyan, ka Eric, no?
Yeah.
At ito may isang tanong lang din, no? Kasi nga,
Sige, go ahead.
andun yung yung ating hope talaga na isa ito sa gagawing prioridad ni President Bongbong Marcos sa kanyang unang taon. Pero sakaling hindi niya ito banggitin or hindi lang niya gawin talagang prioridad dahil sa first 3 weeks niya, wala talaga tayong naririnig sa kanya mismo
Tahimik
na prioridad niya ang pagsugpo sa insurhensya. Ano po sa tingin niyo yung magiging impact nito
Yeah.
sa atin?
Tingnan natin ang opinion, Professor Ana, Miss Ina, ni
Yes.
Prosecutor Chris Gonzales. Sa kanyang opinion, bilang isang lingkod bayan, what if it will not be included sa pahayag ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos? Or hindi ganon kalinaw ang ganitong mga pagpapahayag batay sa talakayan natin? How do you look at that from the perspective and point of view ng mga nagpapatupad ng NTF-ELCAC on the ground? Prosecutor Chris Gonzales.
Yes, Eric, I would like to believe that President Marcos has a good memory
Yeah.
because it is still fresh in my mind during the campaign period when he said that he will strengthen and expand NTF-ELCAC. If he cannot remember that, then it is our duty to remind him of that.
Very
And
simple.
as taxpayer of this country, it is my responsibility to insist that he will comply with his promises, his campaign promises for that matter.
Okay.
Because the measure of a leader is how good he can deliver the promises he made to the people of this republic during the campaign period.
Klaro.
That's my opinion.
Tingnan natin si Yusik. Thank you, Prosecutor Chris. Yusik Joel, would you like to join on that very important insight na tinanong ni Miss Ina?
Oo. Ang ano dyan, alam mo ako, ka Eric, no? Ina and Prof. Ana, Justice Angie, and yung mga kasama po natin. Ako'y naniniwala. I'm very confident. Although I don't want to jump the gun on what the President is going to say this afternoon. Pero mga priority siya talaga, economic recovery, di ba? Peace and security, at saka of course yung insurgency. Anchored on the platforms of unity and continuity. I think the President knows very well his family. No, his family knows very well the importance of addressing wag na natin sabihin yung medyo romanticized pa yung addressing the root cause of insurgency Ituloy na lang, sa diretsay na natin yung fruits, no, itong successes ng NTF-ELCAC. Napaka-effective ng NTF-ELCAC. At it's very important na banggit natin mga FRs. Ito yung game changer. For the longest time, 'di ba, yung mga previous administrations talagang naging militaristic approach, nagkaroon ng ibang programa, iba-ibang oplan, etc. Ano ang missing noon? Walang participation ng mga actual former rebels na talagang nandoon, first-hand account, just like you and me, Eric, 'di ba?
Yeah.
So, even I myself, if you remember that, ito, information operation, pinag-usapan natin, strategic communications. Bago kayo lumabas sa Senate, pinagmeetingan muna natin. No? And there was this question. There was this question na ilalabas ba natin sila o hindi? Kasi may security, concerns. No? So, I stood my ground, if you remember it, na no, we need them. Tapos sinabi ko na nga doon na even I myself will come out na basta lumabas na lahat tayo at sabihin natin, pakita sa taong bayan. Kaya when then DG Nika, Director General ng Nika noon, si DG Alex Monteagudo, I was part of his presentation. Sabi ko, eto na. So alam mo, yung mga former kasi, especially yung mga naglaylo, nananahimik lang yan. Tama yun, medyo may konting, kukuyugin ka eh. May ganyang fear, no? May ganyang apprehension. Pero nung lumabas na sila Eric, lumabas na lahat sila Joy, no? Ay nagkaroon ng lakas ng loob ng iba pa. No? Yung mga luma at bago. In fact, may mga dating kadre na nasa media ngayon na magagaling, no? Well, just like Ambassador Bobby Tiglao, ay nakulong yan ng martial law.
Si Mauro Samonte.
Mauro Gia Samonte.
Si Peter M.
Tapos, yes, marami.
Sir Peter.
Lalabas pa. So tama po yun. That's very important. Itong information.
Yes, Joel. While we're waiting for the next report from the field, habang nandito ang tatlong abogado na magagaling, Justice Angie, Prosecutor Chris, and Attorney Marlon, isa sa ina-expect din ng taong bayan ang marinig, sinabi ni Professor Ana kanina, yung strong political will and strong stand for the rule of law.
Yes.
At isa sa mga game changer na batas na naipasa sa pailalim ni Pangulong Duterte ay ang anti-terrorism law. Professor Angie, Justice Angie, Prosecutor Chris, and Attorney Marlon, common question. Gaano ka-importante sa pagpapalakas at pagpapalawak ng effectivity and ng kamay ng Estado sa instrumentalidad ng batas ang anti-terrorism law in the context of strengthening the NTF-ELCAC, more specifically, the legal cooperation cluster. Your take on that, Justice Angie, then Attorney Marlon, then Prosecutor Chris. Go ahead po.
Okay. This is very strong, the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, as compared to the Terrorism Republic Act 8700 yata yun noong 2007, because this time there were 37 petitions filed against it. Remember that? And the Supreme Court sitting en banc, ibig sabihin full court, denied all their petitions, save for minutest, napaka-small portion lang yung dineclare na unconstitutional, which does not affect the entirety of the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020. So therefore, with this law, kaya takot na takot sila eh. If they're going to violate any provisions of that, they'll be prosecuted to the full force and strength of it.
Ayun.
And legal cooperation is very much ready to file those cases. Thank you.
Claro. Briefly lang, Attorney Marlon and Prosecutor Chris, kasi may naka-standby na report mula kaya sa field kay Miss Hana. Pakinggan natin muna yung rejoinder from Attorney Marlon.
Yes, the anti-terror law is instrumental because it fill in the strategic gap ng laban against terrorism. For example, yung pagde-declare pa lang or designation pa lang ng APC Council sa kanila, we can go against the properties and resources of these terrorist organizations. And we know that to operate a terrorist organization is very expensive. So it allows you to go to the finances and properties immediately. Second is the inclusion of new crimes like recruitment, providing for material support. These are quite important because it now allows the law enforcement in legal to go to this particular sector na hindi natin matouch noon kasi noon actual crimes lang yung pinafailan natin ng kaso. Ngayon, lahat ng preparatory crimes like mere recruitment is now an act of terrorism. These are the strategic and policy gap that enables us to go against the whole modus operandi of this organization.
Sige, balikan natin si Prosecutor Cruz mamaya, Miss Ina, and Attorney Marlon, and Professor Ana for this important news from the ground.
Tanggap po na tayo ng isang live report. No? Alamin natin yung mga posibleng matatalakay sa State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Si ka-partner Hannah Jane Sancho magbabalita live. Partner Hannah.
Yes, mga kapartners, live na live pa rin tayo dito sa House of Representatives at ilang oras na lang ay mapapakinggan na natin ang kauna-unahang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. Pero ang tanong ng ating mga kababayan, ano nga ba ang nilalaman ng talumpati ng Pangulo? Inilatag ng Office of the Executive Secretary ang mga inaasahang paksa na maririnig sa unang State of the Nation address ni Pangulong Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. ngayong araw, Lunes, July 25. Ayon kay Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez, posibleng magiging laman ng SONA ng Chief Executive ang patungkol sa ekonomiya at COVID-19 response. Kasama rin ang may kaugnayan sa edukasyon, particular implementasyon ng face-to-face classes. Dagdag pa ni Rodriguez, inaasahan din na mababanggit ng punong ehekutibo ang patungkol sa isinusulong na digitalized governance ng administrasyon. Naunang ibinahagi ni Rodriguez na si BBM mismo ang nagsulat ng kanyang SONA. Nabanggit din ni Rodriguez na inaasahang maisasapinal ni Pangulong Marcos ang kanyang talumpati ngayong araw at una nang sinabi ng Executive Secretary na hindi natapos ni Pangulong BBM ang kanyang pagsusulat ng SONA speech nitong Biyernes dahil sa dami pa ng trabaho nito. Mga kapartners, kani-kanina lamang ay nagkaroon ng exclusive interview ang SMNI sa Director ng State of the Nation address si Pangulong Marcos. Walang iba kundi si Paul Soriano. At sa naging interview ng ating kapartner na si MJ, sinabi niya maging short, brief, and concise ang SONA ng Pangulo. Nagkaroon din sila ng, if I'm not mistaken, twice sila nagkaroon ng practice o nakapag-practice si Pangulong Bongbong Marcos kasama Direktor at ilang beses din na-revise. So sabi din ng Direktor na inaasahan pa niyang makikita yung final speech ng Pangulo mamaya. At inaasahan niya, nagpaabot din ng mensahe ang Direktor sa ating taong bayan kaugnay doon sa dapat pakinggan ng ating mga kababayan patungkol sa magiging SONA ng ating Pangulo. Mga partners?
Thank you, Hannah, for that report. Ang reaction ko lang is okay naman ang nabanggit mo, no? Economy and COVID-19 response, education and face-to-face classes, at saka yung digitalized governance. Pero sa akin kasi, mas may hinahanap ako na sana mamaya marinig ko. Kasi itong economy, I think this is important, yes. But the COVID-19 response, I think we already have a best practice nito nung panahon ni Duterte, di ba? So, I'm not sure how, i-reinvent mo ba or sususugan mo lang yung best practices? Medyo questionable ako. I'm sorry, no? I'm just being honest with my opinion here. Education, yes, the face-to-face classes, but I think the direction of the VP is okay.
Yeah.
Digitalized, I understand this is important, but I think there are more pressing issues na ini-expect ko. Like for example, ito nga, and FLCAC, ano yung direction? Yun, ang tanong kanina ni Ina is, kung ako ay isang Pilipino at hindi ko marinig ang klaradong direksyon pagdating sa fight against local insurgency and even about illegal rights, which are peace and order issues, ano ang mafe-feel ko? Madidishearten ako. I'll be very frank and straightforward. I'll be very madidishearten ako. At the same time, in terms of analyzing it, ang una kong naiisip is ganito. May empower mo ang enemies of the state if you don't have clear direction on this issue.
Because this is the first State of the Nation
State of the
address.
Nation address,
You're laying
important.
down the strategic direction as well as the immediate programs of the government. Misana,
At pangalawa pa,
sige,
yung pangalawa, first, mai-empower mo ang enemies of the state.
Yeah.
Second, which is very, very crucial, and I worry a lot, no? I worry a lot about this, is nagpo-propagate siya ng confusion on the ground.
On the ground.
At saka ang grassroots communities mo, grassroots, ang pinag-uusapan dito is baka ma-dishearten din.
Kasi yun din ang in-expect nila na tapusin na ang nagwawasak sa bayan natin sa mahigit 50 taon, which is the local communist terrorism. Misana, do you have any hint from Executive Secretary Vic Rodriguez kung mai-include kaya ang ganitong napakahalagang policy declaration mamaya sa SONA na declaration ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos?
Wala na si Ana.
Nawala
si Misana.
Pero let's not be I hope that other people will not be mistaken. We're saying that these are important. The economy is important. Pero what I'm saying is everything is interconnected.
Agree.
Okay? Hindi pwedeng one or the other nga, yung sinasabi natin kanina. Everything has to be addressed at the pronouncement at first zone is important. Kasi dyan mo makikita ano ba ang direksyon ng administrasyon na to. Saan ba sila patungo?
Yes, Prof. Ada, let's acknowledge, bawat administrasyon, may kanya-kanya talaga yan sila nga prioridad. Pero dapat yung mga bagong nakaupo sa pamahalaan, hindi sila makakalimot doon sa gustong maging prioridad din ng taong bayan.
Agree.
Hindi, mayroon pang point na very important. They said that this administration nasabi ito na will build on the successes of the previous administration. And one of the most successful area of programs of the last administration is peace and order.
Yes.
Imagine 80% or 85% of crime na bumagsak yun. Kailangan mong susugan yan. Kasi ang crime rate has to be controlled to at least 85 or lower than that for your economy to flourish, for foreign investors to come to the country.
Correct.
Yun
Kasi hindi pwedeng magkaroon ng stability for economic direction prosperity kung walang malinaw na stability pang seguridad.
Yes,
Ibig
it's
sabihin,
important.
ano ang pinanggagalingan ng primary security to the threat of the nation? CPP, NPA, NDF, and organized crime. And because of that, kuha natin ang opinion si Prosecutor Chris.
Pero bago natin yan,
interview pa, isa pa.
bago natin na ipagpatuloy ka, Eric, panoorin muna natin ito nga naging interview ni partner MJ Mondihar kay Paul Soriano na siya nga director ng unang SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos.
Sige.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ang ating special coverage dito po sa pinakaunang State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos dito po sa Batasang Pambansa. At maswerte tayo at mapalad tayo. Kasama natin ang direktor ng SONA, si Direk Paul Soriano. Sir, kamusta po kayo? Your thoughts sa lahat po ng pinagdaanan niyo sa campaign. Ngayon, State of the Nation Address na po ang labanan ngayong araw na ito.
I know, no? From Tony Talks to the proclamation, to the inauguration, and now to the State of the Nation. What a journey it's been. Truly grateful, honored, and blessed to be a little part of it. No? To be a part of it. No? So exciting. It's great to be here, and I'm very humbled. No?
Sir, ano bang asahan ng taong bayan sa inyo pong pangunguna at pagdidirect sa pinakaunang State of the Nation Address? 31 million plus votes po ang bumoto kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos in the last elections.
That's right, no, 31 million. But I hope the 110 will watch today, no? So that we can all come together and unify for the greater good of the country, no? But yes, simple and traditional. I mean, the president doesn't even have to tell me that, but I know that's exactly what he wants. The main priority of today is his message to the Filipino people, and my job is to capture that and execute it to the best that I know so that the nation can listen to him.
Pero sir, grabe pati sa SONA, nais ng Pangulo na traditional and as possible, as simple para po makuha ng taong bayan. Paano niyo po yung dineliver, sir, sa inyo pong pagdidirect?
Of course, I've been practicing here with the RTV Malacanang team. No, we have over 20 plus camera angles. No, but we're gonna keep it simple only because, like I said, the priority is business here. It's the president's message, and we'll make sure that the camera and my movements don't distract from that.
Sir, looking forward po, do we expect, sir, na ang mga SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos sa paparating, si Direk Paul Soriano po lahat ng hawak?
For as long as he needs me, nandito ako. If he wants me to do the next SONA, I'll be there. Whatever it is he wants me to do, I'll do my best, and I'll do my best to deliver.
Sir, in a personal note, anong mga issues or anong mga solutions po ang nais nyo marinig personally from the mouth of our new president?
Well, between me and you, MJ, we've rehearsed twice. We rehearsed Saturday and we rehearsed Sunday. So I've heard 3 drafts of his speech, and it's getting better. It's getting better. And I know I'm still waiting for his final draft as we speak. There were some slight revisions that he had made yesterday when we were at the palace rehearsing. And once I get that final draft, I think that will be the best one. And of course, I told the president also to speak from the heart. If he feels the urge to go off script a bit, to speak from the heart, because in his heart is the Filipino people.
Sir, how is it big that the message of unity has reverberated across the Philippines? Ang resulta po niyan ang nagdaang eleksyon po. And here comes SONA na po ni President Bongbong Marcos.
Unity is happening right before our eyes, and it's slowly 31 million and hoping, magiging 35, 40, and that the people can put whatever it is aside and focus on what the president has to say today. And imagine if all 110 million Filipinos can come together and do something great. Imagine how great our country will be. So I'm excited about that possibility, and I hope that the Filipinos can all help the president.
So sa inyo pong estimate, gaano kahaba po sa yung running time po ng SONA?
Yeah, we've timed it, no? But again, that's really up to the president to decide. I don't want to give a time. There is no time limit. The country is his. All ears are on him. But knowing him, it's going to be short, concise, straight to the point, direct, clear. And I'm very excited to listen to the president again later this afternoon.
History unfolds right before our very eyes, sir. Ano pong mensahe ninyo sa ating mga kababayan at sa lahat po ng mga sumuporta at sa ating pong mamayang Pilipino na manonood po ng SONA ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ngayong araw?
Sir. Yes, to everyone, to all the Filipinos, let's listen to our president. To all the Filipinos, let's listen to our president and let's do our own little part so that we could make the country great. It's the benefit for us all if we listen to our leader, if we listen to PBBM. And I know he has nothing but great love, sincerity for all of us. So hope you can listen in later 4 p.m. The SONA.
Mga kababayan, si Direk Paul Soriano, inyo pong napakinggan ang direktor po ng pinakaunang State of the Nation Address ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos ngayong araw.
Yan na isang short, maikli, concise, tumpak at clear, malinaw na SONA ang inaasahan natin kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos mula mismo kay Director Paul Soriano. Balik tayo sa ating talakayan, Eric.
May gusto lang kaming ituwid ni Professor Ana doon. Maganda yung mga paglalahad ni Director Paul. Yung isang line na the nation is his. Ang bansang Pilipinas po ay hindi yan kay Pangulong Bongbong Marcos. It's the other way around.
The other way around.
The people and the nation own President Bongbong Marcos.
Isa pa na kailangan medyo, we're just trying to be a little critical, no?
Yeah.
Isa pa na gusto ko lang ituwid din is ganito. That we listen to our leader, that's one thing, but it's the other way around too. The leaders of this country should listen to the Filipino people. And from there, anong gagawin mo, anong policy ang gagawin based on the clamor and the pulse of the public.
Lagi pong nababanggit ni Pangulong Bongbong Marcos noon.
Critical.
Oo, nasabi niya, ang pangarap nyo ay pangarap ko. Tingnan natin kung magre-reflect yan.
Yun.
And for Secretary Pris, babalikan ka namin, hindi kayo nakabuelo ni Atty. Marlon at ni Justice Angie doon sa sinasabi kanina. By the way, last 30 seconds, ang kapangyarihan ng sinuman sa pamahalaan ay inihiram nyo lang po sa taong bayan.
True.
Incidental lang po ang pagkakaupo nyo sa pwesto. The real sovereign power resides with the people.
Yes.
At kailanman, ang kapangyarihan ay pwedeng bawiin ng taong bayan.
And that's the essence of democracy.
Yeah, that's why we are in a democracy.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay? So wala pong pinapatamaan yun. Reminder
Wala.
po yun.
These are just discussion.
Kaya nga nasa konstitusyon na 24/7, every public official is accountable to the people. Let's go to Prosecutor Chris. Prosecutor Chris.
Yes, Eric, I would like to believe that our President will continue NTF-ELCA and he will continue to support us. And we would like to make an appeal, kami na nasa ground. This is all the government workers from all the 17 regions who have worked so hard to discharge the mandate of the NTF-ELCA. This is not the time to leave us hanging here on the ground. Marami na po sa amin ang nagtaya at nag-voice ng our personal comfort and our safety.
Correct.
If you leave us hanging, then it is the loss of the Filipino people, it is the loss of the nation, and we cannot afford to go back to square one. So do not bring us back to square one.
Yeah.
And we would like to say to our President, kayo po ang chairman ng NTF-ELCA, and we ask you to listen to us who have worked with NTF-ELCA, and whatever advice you hear dun sa mga nagsasabi sa inyo na kailangan pang pag-aralan ng NTF-ELCA, mali ho yun. Ako na ho mismo nagsasabi sa inyo, mali po yun kasi etong mga researchers na pinapasok sa gobyerno, they were not there when ELCA was conceived and they were not there when ELCA was doing its job. So they have no right to tell us how to do our job at the NTF-ELCA. Wala po silang alam.
Correct.
And you can put me on record for that.
Yeah, malinaw.
And you cannot listen to people who do not know what they're saying and who do not know, and they do not know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So to our President and to his advisors who are listening to us right now, please listen to the entire government bureaucracy who took part in the NTF-ELCA. We know what we are doing, and we know that we are doing a good job of implementing good governance on the ground. So please allow us to continue doing that. Yeah. Do not stop us, because once we stop, we will be throwing away what we have achieved for the past 3 years.
Claro.
Thank you.
Sususugan ko lang yun kasi very important yun, no?
Sige. Ma'am Lorraine ba?
Si Ma'am Lorraine? Si Lorraine.
Yeah.
Okay. Pero before lang mawala sa utak ko yung research.
Ma'am Lorraine, 3 minutes from Professor Ana, then it's your turn.
Yeah, 1 minute lang actually. Okay. Doon sa research, ganito lang opinion ko dyan, no? Coming from an academic, okay? Yeah. Ang research is important. Wala namang question dyan eh. Pero, kung may existing body of knowledge ka na, existing information, existing literature on a particular issue or topic, you don't need to do research anymore. What you need to do is look at it, try to put it into action points, and if you see certain things na kulang, na makikita mo, doon ka lang mag-insert nun.
Well said.
Yun yung gusto kong maintindihan din sana. Yeah. Na hindi mo kailangan i-reinvent kung anong mayroon na. Yes. At hindi mo kailangan magpondohan ang mayroon na. Yeah. Kasi you're just wasting resources. Yeah. Not only resources in terms of finance, but resources in terms of time, effort, and all of these things.
Agree.
Yun yung kailangan maintindihan. Coming from a researcher myself. Okay? Kasi ganun dapat. Sana yun maintindihan, no? Yun lang.
Balikan ka namin dyan, Professor Ana. Ma'am Lorraine. Thank you, Professor Ana.
I'll just add also not to what Professor Ana said. The research has already been done. Matagal na, no? We would not have reached this amazing and unprecedented gains of the National Task Force if no research was done by the people behind, the brains behind the NTF-ELCA. And those research, no, coupled with experience on the ground. Secretary Esperon was a 2-time National Security Advisor of 2 presidents. He was also the Chief of Staff, no? And how many decades as a foot soldier of the Philippine Army. Plus, of course, he's a PhD and all of that. No? But So, yung sasabihin ko sana na what I wanted to say is that we are a democracy. Now, so, when we listen now to our president, what he says is very important, and what he doesn't say is also very important.
Yes, I agree.
And if he doesn't mention the National Task Force, then he really is empowering the CPP, NPA, NDF, because the message here is that dumating na tayo sa punto na very historical yung gains ng NTF-ELCAC, no? How many? 25,200 surrenders. Out of 68 guerrilla fronts, 61 have been dismantled. High-value targets neutralized like never before. The barangay development program has been institutionalized. And then you're going to drop the ball. We are a democracy. The Filipino people will not be forgiving.
Yeah.
They will not forgive this. Kasi napadapa na nga natin ang CPP, NPA, NDF. No? Kulang na lang. And time is of the essence, which is why nothing of what the NSC is doing right now makes any sense. They're wasting precious time and resources on research that's already been done decades ago.
Yeah.
And every day that we waste is, kasi ganun tayo noon sa NTF-ELCAC, no? Tanong mo, halos hindi kami natutulog. Tuloy-tuloy ito. This is I'm here in New York. It's my first vacation ever since I joined the president. Lalo na nung nag-NTF-ELCAC. Wala akong weekends. Kasi tuloy-tuloy yan. Tuloy-tuloy talaga na every second talaga will count. Kasi you already have the momentum Hindi mo na sila aantayan na makabangon ulit.
Yeah.
Kailangan sipain mo hanggang mamatay ang CPP, NPA, NDF. And here we have an NSC that's handing out survey forms to understand. Ang tanong is the CPP, NPA, NDF daw a threat? No, it's just nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. So what we want to hear from our president right now is what he promised, that he will continue the NTF-ELCAC and that he will strengthen it. But the NTF-ELCAC that we know, not this NTF-ELCAC that doesn't make any sense to us.
Claro. Justice Angie Miranda, ma'am, would you like to add some insights on in case na hindi man ma-include Yusik Joel, no? Mamayang hapon sa State of the Nation address, although we are not prejudging yet kung anong lalamanin nito kasi may final draft pa daw, sabi ni Director Paul Soriano sa report ni MJ. Justice Angie and then sa kay Attorney Marlon.
Thank you, Eric. I think this will be my last exposure. I have a 1 o'clock I will preside. So I prepared a letter or a message to our dear President. The NTF-ELCAC has been in the forefront of fighting the massive disinformation campaign created and maintained by the CPP, NPA, and NDF through their fronts and spread by their powerful friends in the media, both here and abroad. That had begun unchallenged for 5 decades. The NTF-ELCAC has finally succeeded in challenging and unmasking the communist terrorists' deception of having fronts or allies as their legal voice, while their other hand is backstabbing and continuing their murders and destruction of the Filipino people. On that note, Mr. President, lead us. Thank you very much.
Claro.
Thank you, claro.
Very clear and very simple message coming from one of the pillars ng NTF-ELCAC, lalo na sa pamumuno ng Legal Cooperation Cluster. Yes, Justice Angie, Miss Ina and Professor Ana, you may go ahead po. That serves as a very good message already for the people na napapakinggan po kayo na hindi po kayo tumitigil bilang bahagi ng pamahalaan sa tamang pagpapatupad sa tamang direksyon ng National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, hoping that the good President, President Bongbong Marcos, will have to include sana sa kanyang State of the Nation address, pinakakauna-unahan, Professor Ana. And on that note also, let's go to Attorney Marlon Basanto.
Yes, thank you. We remember that no one has the monopoly of intentions, knowledge, and good intent. Hindi po namin ginagawa yung ginagawa namin na sinasangkalan namin ang ating buhay dahil hindi namin alam ang critical theory. But listen to this. For example, Secretary Kapuyan of the NTF-ELCA has with the indigenous communities since 1980s. Sa lahat po ng kanilang historical struggles sa pagkakabatay ng mga traditional leaders, siya po ang nag-initiate ng mga using traditional mechanisms, conciliatory mechanisms in order to gain the trust of the indigenous peoples, lalo po sa Mindanao. He was able to, binigay po niya ang karir niya para samahan ng historical struggles ng mga IPs. How do you replace that with research?
Yeah.
Nandun po yung trust and confidence ng mga tao sa kanya because he was there during their darkest times. And that's why yung problema ngayon ng NTF-ELCA sa Mindanao dumadaan sa kanya lalo sa concerns ng indigenous peoples because the history has been there.
Yes.
Alam po natin yung ginagawa natin because we know we've been there. So hopefully, I hope the President will continue the gains of the NTF-ELCA.
Yeah.
Sabi nga, malapit na tayo sa finish line. You do not change your generals. You do not change forces in the extremes.
Agree.
This kind of trust and confidence reposed to NTF-ELCA officials is because they had been there in the ground. Nandun po sila. So I hope that, sabi nga nila, what is more important than you know is what you do not know. People up there should recognize what they do not know and try to ask people na alam talaga ang tunay na nangyayari on the ground. I hope that that recognition